This is WWE NXT superstar Dominic Dijakovic, and you are feasting your ears on the Busted Wide Open podcast.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome back to the Busted Wide Open podcast, but if this is your first time joining the show, I'd like to welcome you to episode number 218. For getting to push the button that plays the Blueberry promo today, my name is Nick Howell.
And wondering what the hell Suge D, a.k.a. Sugar Dunkington, a.k.a. Pineapple Pete, ever did to Chris Jericho, I am Sir Ian Dangerous, and welcome to the show. And thank you for joining us on this fine Saturday, whether you're with us live on the tubes of you, or whether you're hearing us on our podcast, on your podcast platform of choice. Thank you for bringing yourself to the table today and joining us. We have lots to talk about. We got to go over AEW, NXT. We finally, the final Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa match. We have to talk about Smackdown. Nick gave me a look there, so I have a feeling that's going to be a fun match to talk about. Smackdown we have to go over. Plus, there's lots of news that happened as well that we got to talk about. Nick, let's do some housekeeping.
Yes.
And then we can get into the show.
Yeah, guys, come over to Facebook, search for Busted Wide Open, like our page, and send us a join request to get into our discussion group with the rest of the phenomenal ones. It's where we hang out, post fun memes, cool news stories, and all kinds of good stuff all throughout the week. But the most important link to find in there is our Discord server. You can also find it if you're watching here on YouTube in the description down below, but that is where all of the live chats and all the good times happen all throughout the week. And we have dedicated channels for pay-per-views and other kind of events and watch parties, all kinds of stuff happening over in our Discord. You want to make sure you're getting in there. If you can't find it, there's plenty of people in the group that will help you find it. So just let people know in Facebook how to get over there, or you can find it pinned to any of our social media profiles, such as Twitter and Instagram, where you can find us at BWO Podcast, streaming live right here on YouTube at youtube.com/bustedwideopen. Hey, for those of you listening to the audio, did you know we had a YouTube channel? Did you guys know we finally made it past 1,000 subscribers, and we're awaiting YouTube's blessing. We're awaiting the gods of you, the tubes of you, to let us in. So we are in progress. Our partner application is in process. So we will.
Yes. If you guys are wondering why we don't have that up yet, if you're chomping at the bit, trust us, we are too. Just hang on. It's coming. Now that we've done it, it's coming. Thank you all for helping us out with that. Yeah. But yes, it's on the way. It's on the way.
Absolutely. But make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you got your notifications set to all so that you get notified anytime we go live or put up new content. Every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern and every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, where we also do our patron mailbag immediately after this show at around 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 Pacific, where we answer listener questions from our aforementioned phenomenal ones, our patrons. Thank you guys for all of your contributions, and if you'd like to get in on that ability to ask those questions, bonus episodes like the breakdown that Sir Ian Dangerous just gave us on the Firefly Funhouse match. Holy boop! You're not ready for that episode, and you're not ready for Nick Booking 2.0 coming next Thursday. So a big bang double whammy coming for you. It's never been a better time to sign up at the $10 tier. And I would be remiss if I did not show just the utmost appreciation for the man, the person that was our first $50 patron, stepped into the ring, stepped up to the plate, and signed himself up to be our first ever $100 patron.
God.
Mr. Trey Davis. Trey, thank you very much, man.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, and listen.
Officially now a producer on the show.
Yes, officially going to be producing a segment per month on one episode per month of the show. So we have room for 4 of those because at the time that we built that, we were only doing once a week. So, I mean, we could stretch that out. I don't know. We had to go remind ourselves what we wrote down for that tier. But the point is, Trey, thank you very much for all of your support over the last couple of years, man. It's been absolutely amazing.
Absolutely. And thank you to everybody, because this doesn't happen without all of your support. It doesn't happen. The village builds everything. So it's for all you guys. It's from all you guys. So thank you for helping this show grow, and we will continue to do so. The train has not stopped. It's left the station. It's off on the tracks. It's just going now. So it's just a matter of inertia, and as things grow, they will continue to grow, hopefully exponentially. That's the plan, at least.
Oh, yeah.
And so far, it seems to be happening that way. So thank you guys for sticking with us. And if you're new, thank you for joining up.
Yep. And thank you.
Welcome on board.
If you'd like to, head over to patreon.com/BWO. You can find a link to it on this episode or down in the description here on YouTube. Sign up for one of those awesome reward tiers. Get into the ability to ask those listener questions. Show notes for every single episode. Bonus episodes at the $10 tier. Sweet swag, Skype calls, all kinds of good stuff over at patreon.com/BWO. Enough of me running my damn mouth. Let's go over and talk about the big news.
Well, it finally happened, Nick. It's finally come to pass. The Revival are no longer the Revival because they have been released by WWE. Gentlemen, welcome. Welcome to the larger world, the big open world. You are free. Fly, my pretties, fly, yes. Fly. They're off and running. They have left the WWE. They've been future endeavored. From what we understand, they do not have a no-compete clause. They can do whatever they want as of right now. So don't expect to see them necessarily on AEW right away, although that does seem like where they're going to be going. It just seems like the logical place to go, given their history with the Young Bucks, given the fact that they're a tag team, and that's the place that is intentionally trying to put on the best tag team wrestling in the world. They may do a stint in New Japan, but the thing is, everything is shut down right now. That's the problem with them, for them right now. AEW's they've taped all their episodes through the month, so don't expect to see them anytime soon, but they are now free agents. They're out on their own. If you want to have an idea of what to expect, Nick, I did find a quote from Arn Anderson.
Okay.
And Arn Anderson, of course, as we said, we assume they're going to AEW, where Arn Anderson is, where Tully Blanchard is. Like, that's where we're thinking they're going. And Arn apparently is, salivating. He said, it would be kind of cool to look at yourself in the mirror as you're having a match. I know these guys have patterned a lot of their stuff after Tully and I. Not that each piece of the physicality is the same, but the thought process is the same. That's what Tully and I got over to begin with. The evil intent of what we did. Not necessarily the physical part of it 100%. The setting up a guy and suckering him in and misdirection and something behind a guy's back that he never saw coming.
Right.
That's the thing that these guys have really studied and watched and perfected. They're more athletic than Tully and I will ever be or ever were, even at our peak. These guys can do a lot more stuff, and you put all that thought process in there with it, you have a pretty viable team. The best of those guys has yet to be seen. Let me put it that way. So if you weren't excited for these two guys going into AEW, where the two guys they patterned themselves after are working as producers and talent, let me put it in my eye holes.
Yes.
Put it in my eye holes. In case you're wondering, no, they're not known by their WWE names any longer. They're now going by Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood.
Okay.
Are their names?
Sure.
And I suspect they'll be going by the Mechanics, although I'm not sure if WWE trademarked that name in time. That's what they used to go by. So we'll see. We will see. Something else we'll be seeing is a lot more live TV from WWE. No, they're not going to pre-tape. At the very last minute, they were supposed to be doing tapings all weekend. They were supposed to tape about 5 weeks of TV this weekend for Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. But instead of doing that, the last minute, Friday, middle of the day on Friday, Vince McMahon changes his mind and says, no, we're doing it live. We're doing Raw live. We're doing SmackDown live. And for a certain extent, we're going to do NXT live. So obviously, there's a lot of people that were shocked by this. A lot of people in the company that were shocked by this. A lot of people outside that are going, what are you doing? There's a crisis going on right now. We're not supposed to be doing that. Two things. One, they're in Florida. And there is the suspicion that he has Governor DeSantis's approval to do this. And it's a little bit different. The rules are different in Florida than they are in a lot of the rest of the country. One. Two, he'd had pressure supposedly from President Trump during this phone call that he had with all of the heads of the sports leagues. But three, and probably most important, probably the most defining thing, is that the networks require contractually a certain number of live shows per year. They can only have so many taped shows. And that number, at least for Raw, is 3. So they're already running a little bit close to how many taped shows they can do. They're worried that even though this is obviously extenuating circumstances, a special situation.
There's got to be some kind of act of God clause or something like that in there for hurricanes and shit like that.
Yeah, but not for a pandemic. That doesn't, I mean, they don't plan for this. So I think the conventional wisdom is Vince doesn't want to put himself in a situation where the networks can leverage his performance, his shows against him in any negotiations. Well, you did have all of those taped shows at the one point, right? But we weren't allowed to tape, and they're like, "Did you try everything? Did you talk to us?" He doesn't want to be in that situation, so he's just going to do it live until he's
Dana White morphed into Mortal Kombat and went to a private island. Vince, did you do that? Did you do everything you could?
But that's the thing is Dana White was also shut down by Gavin Newsom, who went to Disney behind his back and said, "You need to shut this guy down." Went to ESPN and said, "You need to shut this guy down." He pressured the companies, the networks, to stop it. And now Dana White, he's as crazy as Vince. He said he's going to go get the island. He's going to put up the UFC fighters on the island for a month, like literally create like Mortal Kombat. He's going to create Mortal Kombat. And again, like he's going to those lengths. So Vince is still in a situation where no one has told the networks shut him down. So just like he did initially with WrestleMania, he waited until the pressure was so great that he had to shut it down. He's going to keep doing live shows until he gets too much pressure to shut it down, and the network's on the same page. That's my feeling on it. So
I have a lot of, we got a lot of wrestling to talk about today, so I don't want to waffle on about this, but judging by the caliber of what we saw at WrestleMania from the stuff that was pre-taped, juxtaposed to what we got live, yeah, I'm wondering if this is the right thing to do. Because, we're going to talk about some of the stuff this week for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know, guys. I feel like USA needs to be looking at the bigger picture going, what's the better content? Forget the logistics of how it makes it to the TV.
Not even content. What's safer for the performers?
That aside, that's the obvious.
No, that's not obvious apparently, because they're allowing this to happen.
Right. Okay.
And the only thing they're doing for testing, from what I understand, is taking their temperature when they come in. That's their test. They don't have the actual test. They are taking people's temperatures and asking them, "Do you feel okay?" That's their test. It's basically like it's the most ineffective way of catching this thing. You know what I mean? It's the health and wellness clause for WWE, only as they're checking them for if they have this. I don't know what I can say on the show so we don't lose YouTube, but you know what I mean? Like they don't have this thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really irresponsible. I mean, and on the one hand, it's really irresponsible. On the other hand, I am loving the fact they're still putting out content. I'm loving the fact that they're trying to entertain people. We need entertainment during this time. Like, great. I see that aspect. But they have to do it responsibly.
Yeah.
If they're going to do it. Otherwise, this is going to come back and bite them in the ass. Nick, can you imagine one wrestler comes down with this? One. Because they went and did live shows. What's going to be the fallout?
Vince is going to have to explain. WWE is going to get completely blamed, even though it appears that they're being strong-armed by USA and potentially Fox to do it.
Mm-hmm.
They won't feel the repercussions. WWE will.
Absolutely. Vince is going to take this right on the chin.
Yep.
If someone gets sick and God forbid gets really, really, really sick, this is really going to come back and bite him all up in his ass.
And the irony is the pre-tape stuff is better. I'm just saying. Because they
cleaner.
can make
I don't know
some
about,
videos in WWE, guys.
I don't know about better, but it's definitely cleaner.
Yeah.
It's a lot cleaner.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, without an audience, it is what it is, no matter what.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's an irresponsible decision, and we will see what comes of it. But that is what's going down with WWE, Nick, and that is the big news, which means it's time to head over and talk about All Elite Wrestling.
Okay. Well, we kicked off the TNT. I'm going to start calling it the TV title because that's really what it is. It's just named the TNT Championship or something like that. It's a TV title. That's really what it is.
Give some love to the network. It's called a TNT tournament.
I am giving love to the network. You know, it's the TNT tournament. We'll just call it the TNT tournament. The best of both worlds.
TNT tournament.
There we go.
There you go, buddy.
The first round we had this week with Cody facing off against Shawn Spears. I thought they did an excellent job building this up, revisiting the history between them. The relationship of Tully and Shawn Spears coming up. All of this, I thought they did a fantastic job just producing this, almost in case you missed it. In case you haven't been watching AEW, in case you slept on it early on, you missed the early on chair shot, you missed how he became the chairman. There was a lot of drama built into Shawn Spears here, and then a lot of the drama of Cody's come up. I like the time that they spent. That's the bit. The match was fine. I think the way that they delivered this to people that they didn't assume everybody knew everything in an elitist way, right? They took everybody through all the motions since we've been going for the last 6 months and made sure that everybody understood the gravity of this match and the fact that it was a first round matchup between two guys that have had some serious history in the last 6 months.
Some serious history, and not only that, but that at this point, Shawn Spears needs this perhaps more than Cody does. Like Cody does for his own reasons. Shawn Spears is teetering on the edge here. And this was interesting to me because at no point did I think Shawn Spears was going to win this after they did that whole promo before this, the whole setup. But that made me think, well, then what the hell are they going to do with Shawn Spears after this? Because now he's a perennial loser. His record in AEW is terrible. He hasn't won a match this year.
Yeah.
And this match, according to the story they built for the match, as they were going back and forth and their, implements of destruction were brought into the ring and the ref was waving it off because, as they said on commentary, it's a playoff situation. So she's letting them go. But by the end of this match, the reason Shawn Spears lost this match was mental errors. At one point, he had Cody smashed outside the ring. He powerbombed him onto a barricade that he'd set up against the ring. Cody was dead outside the ring, and Spears is in the ring waiting for the 10 count. Cody gets back in on 9.5, of course. But instead of going over and beating him down and pinning him, and the commentary was screaming at him to pin him. Everyone was like, pin him! Just go over and pin him! He's dead! He's right there! Spears collapses on the ground, holds his head, and is so mad that he didn't get the 10 count. And there was a couple of mental errors like that where he didn't capitalize. If that's the story they're telling, what they're telling me is Shawn Spears is a guy who, in big situations, flubs.
Yep.
And that makes me then turn around and wonder, what is Tully Blanchard doing with this guy? All this in kayfabe, but again, one has to consider that. Why is Tully Blanchard staking his claim on this guy when this guy keeps choking because of mental errors, not because of talent? Mental errors. And there's so many other guys that don't choke in these situations. Why isn't he going for a Darby Allin, a dude who is way more driven and I'd say more mentally focused, the way they've been telling the stories, than Shawn Spears? Right? That maybe Shawn Spears physically more imposing than Darby, but one has to start wondering about this.
Yeah.
Is that the story that you think that they're telling with Shawn Spears here? Is this going to be something where he's going to hit a bottom and then become even more vicious? Because if so, that could be fun, but it seems right now that they're long playing that, and it's hurting his cachet.
That could turn into something where he turns on Tully and fires him or doesn't want to work with him anymore. Sure, there's some drama there that you could do.
But
this feels
really
like Cody serving Cody in a way. And I hate to say that because, it's I don't want to assume that either, but it kind of reeks of that. Like, I didn't expect Shawn Spears to get out of the first round against Cody. I called Cody here to I think it's going to be no, it's going to be Cody and Lance.
Yeah.
We could see Darby get past Cody in that A block. But I would be surprised by that. I fully expect this to be
all
all building to Cody and Lance Archer.
But then it's just going to be, but then it'll be Lance murdering Darby in the final. Then that's not exciting.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But having Cody and Darby have a little like breakup, and then Darby's bitter because Cody puts him down, and then he's got Cody and Lance in the final. Either Darby costs Cody the final, or Lance murders Cody and establishes himself. Either way,
yeah,
I'm curious what their thoughts are.
But to your point about Sean Spears, yeah, that's this. I don't know what to make of it. Does he just continue to fall down the ranks? I mean, this feels very reminiscent of Ty Dillinger, where he came out hot and just kind of dwindled over time. Dwindled until nobody cared anymore about the Perfect 10. So are we seeing history repeat itself now in AEW with him? Does that point more to him than it does to whoever's booking all of this? I don't know. Shout out to Jericho on commentary as well, by the way, tonight.
Jericho all night long. The only problem with Jericho on commentary is he never shut up. Yeah, well, I never got to hear Shivani. He even said goodnight
or whatever.
Everybody.
He kept calling him different versions of his name.
Yeah, well, he did that with a couple of guys. That's part of his thing, and I love it. But it did seem like the Chris Jericho show, and I know that's part of his character is just to be this loudmouth blowhard and never shut up, but. To the point where like I actually was like, let Shivani get a word in edgewise. Let him do his job. Like this is the easiest night Shivani's had in years. So anyway, yeah, but Jericho was just classic on commentary. A lot of just fantastic lines and funny, and of course he was. And also putting over guys, making guys look good, even if his character didn't like them. Calling moves like, yeah, he nailed it on commentary.
Yep.
Nailed it. So right now we're looking at Sean Spears again, wondering what the hell is going on with him. Either they're going to have to have him let him win something and do it in a dastardly way and make him that scary chairman again, or they're just going to just stop. You know, like you're killing him. We're seeing Cody and Archer in the final. Do you think Cody's gonna be the first champ here or Archer?
Archer.
What do you have? Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. You don't have Cody go over Archer in their first match,
and that's why I'm thinking
Cody
Darby, because it gives Darby a little bit of heat. Let Lance Archer murder him, because Darby will put on a good show. It won't be a squash. Yeah. That's why I'm thinking. Plus Darby and Cody, if you remember last week, had a little bit of that moment where Darby just yanked away and then give him a good strike. That's why I'm thinking Darby gets one over on Cody somehow. And ends up going to face Archer.
Here's why. Well, I think it's going to be Cody and Archer because that's the story that they're trying to tell. That's the story that they're building towards. Jake the Snake Roberts opened up the show with a promo about Cody trying to run away from Archer and him saying, I bet you're going to lose one of these matches because you don't want to face Archer, and that's your way out. That's why I think Cody's going all the way through, is because Jake even said, like, you got to, come on, man. If you lose one of these matches, I'm just going to assume because you're wussing out.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to face Archer. And if you think about it, you already have a face champ in Moxley. Why have two face champs? If you have Moxley as one champ and Archer as your TV champ, that's a scary big old dragon to slay right there for all of your faces who want to try and take out this guy who's an unstoppable monster who's your TV champ. So to me, it makes more sense to have Archer go through, kill Cody, create some beef there, put Archer over, make him look like a monster, give him a title, and let all your faces chase him.
Yep.
All your mid-card faces chase.
It's going to be beautiful. I can't wait.
I think so too. Archer also had a match on this show against we have no idea what his real name is. Right. Because Jericho kept changing the guy's name. Alan Iverson, Angels, we don't know. Guy named Alan who got just murderized by the Murder Hawk. So yeah, Jake is cutting promos again and sounding great. Archer is murdering people, looking great. He's on a collision course with Cody. He's got Colt Cabana. I think next week is what they were saying. And he's going to probably murder him too. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be fantastic.
Boom,
boom. Boom, boom. It's going to get boom.
Can I just have a moment to say, we thought over the last couple of years that we had lost Jake the Snake. Like, he was going through all kinds of health issues and things like that, but here he is back cutting some of the best promos I've ever seen in my entire life. Like this, the last 2 weeks, the one of him sitting by the fire and then the one this week. Good Lord. that guy is still he's got that. I've smoked 300 cigarettes a day for 25 years.
And use a wrestling voice for 25 years. This is what happens to your voice. I can barely speak, but this is what,
Somehow it still sounds amazing.
He sounds terrifying. Shout out to Jake too, because I know he's been going through a rough time with this quarantine thing. He's been tweeting out that, he's had some rough patches, put on a little weight and the rest of it, but he's staying strong, and people on Twitter are being very supportive of him. So
yeah,
that's awesome, man. Keep strong, brother. I know he's been through some nasty stuff, and to his credit, has really gotten his shit together.
Indeed.
So keep it up.
Yeah.
So also we had several other matches on the show we got to talk about. Britt Baker, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD versus Hikaru Shida, which we saw set up last week. They obviously had some beef. Hikaru Shida, currently the #1 contender for the title. Who knows when she's going to get that shot? It's been 10 weeks, I guess they said, since she became #1 contender. So this did not go how I thought it was going to go, Nick.
No.
This got bloody.
Yeah. What's the name? What's the name of our show again, guys?
Busted wide open.
Yeah.
I don't know if she got busted wide open, but her nose got broke, or at least jacked pretty good. Looked like by an elbow strike by Shida, but I could be wrong. They were trading at one point, and Britt just kind of paused too long, and she was a little shaky for about 2 minutes afterwards. They had a semi-botched move there, but it's probably because Britt was seeing stars. I can't blame her for it, because overall this match I thought was very well worked.
Yeah.
I thought they did a great job in this match. Nice and snug, and
I certainly enjoyed it more than I thought I would. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it picked up once Britt got just huge swaths of red, like on her teeth and her mouth, and she's just laughing and spitting blood everywhere. And
they made that into a T-shirt, by the way. AEWshop.com. It's already on the store.
It's already a T-shirt. Yeah, the doctor is here. So yeah, that was it. This ended up being a much more entertaining match, probably because of the color.
Yeah,
but I thought they did a good job even without that. But okay, so now after this, do you feel every week we kind of check in on the women's division? We kind of go, all right, how's that women's division going in AEW? Because that's one of their weak spots, right? NXT's got a great women's division and kind of a lame tag division. AEW's got a great tag division, kind of a lame women's division. How are we doing with these things? Are we getting any better?
Oh hell yes. We're staffing up. We're building the roster. Yep. We're having actual matches. We've got contenders. We're like everything. Yeah. The only outstanding thing to deal with right now is the thing that we're all in, which is the pandemic that's going on, preventing them from developing any other talent outside of this. But I mean, we got an Anna Jay sighting again this week.
Yes, we did. Yeah, well, I know you saw that. Calm down, Nick. Calm down.
We got Britt Baker.
Tony Storm, by the way, still crying over you breaking up with her last week. That was just cold.
I've still yet to. I read this once a day. To myself to make sure that, and I've yet to frame it yet, but I'm not sure I made the right decision. It's to be determined.
Oh God, it's too late now.
Yeah, I guess it is too late. Oh well.
You kick Tony. You can't. Come on, man. You kick Tony to the curb.
I don't
for
know.
Anna
I feel
Jay.
like
You
I'm
can't
gonna regret
go
that
back.
one day though.
You think?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, the ones that got away. Yeah, well, that's at least you know that Anna Jay will be on TV more. She is All Elite. They did announce that she is now All Elite. So at least your new lady will be on TV, probably more than Tony Storm is.
Fair.
So there you got that going for you.
Especially in that women's division over there. Good Lord.
So yeah, looking brighter. This was definitely I'm a fan of Shida. I like her work. Britt Baker, we were shaking on at the beginning. She's done a 180. She is fantastic. She's absolutely, I think, delivering on the promise that they saw in her. This, I think, is going to be one of her iconic matches in terms of, obviously, getting your nose busted did wonders for Becky Lynch. I don't think it's going to be the same thing for her here, but it don't hurt none.
No, last summer they tried to bring Britt Baker out as a face, which I don't fault them for. I probably would have done the same thing. She's got the look and the style and all that kind of stuff, but I think flipping her heel at the Cruise was the absolute right thing to do. It took her a few weeks to really find her groove, but once she did, she's nailing it. And this was no different.
Yeah, and I like that even Jericho kind of pointed out a little inside baseball that, one thing that he was told way back in the day was, keep your eyes, like, check in with the hard cam. Superstars look at the hard cam, know which camera to check in on. And sure enough, Baker kept like going and talking right into the cameras. Not only that, she's finding interesting new angles to her gimmick too, like the whole Tony Schiavone thing, where they're frenemies. That was even like her little tag. Like, how in WWE they have like little like trivia about people, and it's usually something stupid.
Yeah.
Like he's won the Intercontinental title twice, or he just won the Royal Rumble this last year. It's like, we know. How about put something interesting over there? They call her little tag was frenemies with Tony Schiavone, best frenemies or something like that. And I was just like, that's great. She was even calling out for Tony during the match. So yeah, that's some great aspects to her character. Sheeta is just a good babyface character. She's fiery. She hits hard. She looks great. So
good stuff.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling a little bit more positive about it. Also very positive about the DDT match we saw. Oh, sorry. No, it was an AEW match. It just happened to be DDT style. The Best Friends versus the Best Friends for the name Best Friends.
Right.
In a Best Friends match.
Right.
Trent and Chucky T versus Kenny Omega and Michael Nakazawa.
I loved the backstage segment before this match with Kenny and Nakazawa going, with him suggesting the name Best Friends. There's already
Kenny's like,
one
no,
of those.
they're already
there. There's
already one of those. Well, yeah, but you're an EVP. You can get it done. He's like, all right, I'll see what I can do. And then Orange Cassidy comes out of their bathroom for some reason and just stands there shaking their head. And they're like, oh, no, you didn't hear. And then Chucky T and Trent coming through the door of their trailer. And they're like, we heard everything. If you want our team name, you're going to have to go through us for it. And then Cassidy's goes back in the bathroom for some reason. Like, I don't know. It was cute. But it set up this match, which was a comedy match. It was a DDT match, pretty much straight up. They even called the fact that Omega and Nakazawa used to team up in DDT. They did a bunch of their old catchphrases from them and moments. So it was set up as a comedy match. It delivered as a comedy match. Do you think, however, Nick, this kind of match, if you just tuned in as a new viewer and you saw this match, would this be off-putting to you, or was the fact that they were explaining it on commentary, this isn't going to be a traditional match? Do you think that would that have helped the perception?
I think they did a good job between the commentary, and then I think you had was it Sean Spears, somebody off to the side going, get the oil, get that out of there, get it away from him. Like they were trying to do that in a very indirect kind of way. That was his secret weapon was his oil, and eventually, of course, he got the oil. Everybody gets sprayed with oil, and it makes sense if you're watching it. But yeah, if you're just
sprays Orange Cassidy in the face, and then he realizes he can't blind him with it because he's got glasses on, so he rips his glasses off and throws them, and turns back and sprays him. And Cassidy's already got a new pair of sunglasses on.
Brilliant.
Lots of little gimmicks in here. Spraying the oil on the chest, and Trent tries to chop him, but it just slides right off. So yeah, lots of classic Nakazawa oil gimmicks.
Yeah, if you're into wrestling at all, like if you came from UFC and you thought you were going to find somebody getting broken up, well, you got that in the previous match with Britt Baker getting busted open, right?
Yeah,
wide open. Excuse me. And then you had this right afterwards with some comedy and some fun. So yeah, I'd sit there eating my popcorn. This is a good time.
You did really get the full gamut on this show. You had Cody and Sean Spears. Sean Spears, just a classic style match. You even had like very, very technical wrestling in that, and it was built up as who's gonna, is a Smash Mouth style gonna beat technical style, and them each switching in and out of both styles throughout the entire match. You had 2 squash matches. You had a women's match which got bloody, and you had this. So if you watched the whole show, then yeah, I thought this would fit in beautifully.
If you're channel flipping and you just happen to land on TNT at 8:47,
and you happen to see this match, you might be like, "What the actual hell are they doing on this?"
I would be intrigued. Like, there's a naked Asian man squirting oil on people. Like, what in the hell am I? I'm okay. What is this?
Yeah, there was a full test at one point when he was pulling off his underwear. Yes, that if you didn't watch this, that actually happened. He pulls off his underwear underneath his trunks and then uses it as a mandible claw sort of thing.
It's the Cobra.
There was a full-on nutsack that came out one side of his trunk. So we actually did see full-on nutsack in this match. So yeah, if you just tuned into this match,
welcome to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. Welcome to the show. Let's talk about the other one of those squashes here. Brody Lee pulls up in his limo. His boys are waiting outside. He runs them down. One of them's wearing a tie. The other 2 are not. He tells them that, basically essentially dress for success. If you look like chumps, you're going to be chumps. And then he takes the guy with the tie, says, I got a special project for you, and brings him inside. We don't know what that project is, but and then he comes in and he squashes a guy named Lee Johnson. Here's the question. Do you feel that the Vince stuff was toned down this week? And if so, if Brody Lee is not directly doing shots at Vince McMahon, which this might have been, this might have just more of a subtle one. Do you feel that that's better? Did this feel more like in line with what you want to see out of his character?
No.
Really?
No. It
so
feels,
you're just not a fan of the bullying leader.
Yeah, it feels more like a drill sergeant, kind of preppy cult leader than it does. I wanted the fantasy. I wanted broken Matt Hardy. I wanted craziness. I wanted him to be Xenu, not L. Ron Hubbard. You get what I'm saying there?
Absolutely. I do get what you're saying. I don't even think he's L. Ron Hubbard because he's not. Well, this is a little. He's even more aggressive than that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, he's not. He's way more aggressive than that.
He's a little more Tony Soprano than anything. Yeah. He's running the mafia right now. Is what it feels like.
Sure, while still making it a self-improvement scam. You know what I mean? It's like if Tony Robbins, meets Caligula. It's an interesting take on it, but we already have Matt Hardy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't need another one like that. I don't have a problem
Matt
with them.
Hardy.
But do you have? I guess what I'm saying is there's only so much fantasy stuff you can have, and this is not the take I expected, but I'm intrigued by it. I'm still intrigued by it. I feel like they're still doing setup. I don't feel like this is all there is to it. Does that make sense? I feel like there's more coming.
I hear what you're saying. I'm mostly mad because of my wrestling, and it's not what I wanted, admittedly.
Right.
Admittedly, but as I've said the whole time, even before we knew it was Luke Harper, Brody Lee, even before, I think I'm on record on the show here saying I never want to see them until it's time to see them. I don't want him out there squashing jobbers every week or two. I when it's time to call in the final boss, make him the final boss. What they're doing right now with these vignettes to introduce him is fine, but then they show him out in the ring squashing a jobber. And I'm just like, you're taking all the mystique and the gravitas off of him if you're doing that. So I see what they're trying to do. I'm just not loving it. I want to love it. We've been building for this since November. I want to love this.
Right. And you feel like it's not quite connecting to you right now. And I think that that might be the case with a lot of people where this just isn't hitting people. Some people are not happy with the pot shots at Vince.
Well, Cody was also on an interview this week where he said he came out on record and basically said, look, some of them may come across that way, but they are not direct pot shots at Vince or anything to do with WWE, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, and let's also be clear. Vince also has a fairly thick skin after years and years of making fun of himself.
Did you guys watch the Firefly Funhouse match?
Yeah. The dude can take a shot. You know what I mean? And it's it's not like he's not aware. It probably, on one level, he makes him kind of go, God damn it. And the other level, he's like, all right, that's pretty funny. You know what I mean? Again, we have no idea. We don't know what's going on in Vince's head, but speculation. But at the same time, Brody Lee doing a cartoonish Vince imitation isn't going to ruin Vince's day.
No.
It's not the end of the world, and it's not ruining his character necessarily because it's never being made super explicit, right? It's not like he's Brody McMahon, the exalted one. You know what I mean? It's not super explicit. And this week, I felt like it could be taken as a shot about Vince McMahon saying, my top guys all have to dress in a suit. Remember, even had Kevin Owens come out in a suit when he became Universal Champion, which is totally unlike Kevin's character. But so I took this as another Vince shot, just very subtle. And it doesn't need to be a shot even. It could just be him saying, this is what big, powerful guys do. All of these weird quirks are fascinating. Let me take these and use these as aspects of this bullying character who likes to mentally beat people down as much as he likes to physically beat people down. My question is when do they show that this works? Because you have to show this works. Again, the Bray Wyatt thing. Cult leaders have to be shown to be effective to be an effective gimmick. Otherwise, you might as well just be a glorified enhancement talent.
It's diminishing returns. If they keep doing what they're doing right now for the next couple of months, nobody's going to give a shit about the Exalted One.
Except that he needs to have a real match. Yeah, he can't squash forever. But look at the Dark Order. They're 6-0 this year. They're at the top of the tag division. So there is something there. Like, our perception is that they still are kind of goons, but they're winning. Like, if they become the tag champions, which they could very easily as soon as we get back on, we might just be at a point where the rubber hasn't hit the road yet because of the current situation.
Yeah.
So maybe we're being a little harsh because they can't really advance the storyline yet because they've got to slow everything down. Maybe they meant to. I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt at this point, frankly, because I feel like they've got stuff up their sleeve here.
Oh,
I really do.
I'm coming along for the ride, believe me. And it's not a knock on Brody himself as a performer, by no means. It's a weird combination of it's not what I expected, it's not what I wanted, and frankly, it's affecting my enjoyment of what they're actually doing.
Right. So maybe once you get past the disappointment of it not being exactly what you wanted, the wrestling aspect of it, maybe then you can turn around and possibly enjoy it, especially once they really show us what their intentions are.
And there's I'll add a third cog to that stool as well, where we've had high hopes for Luke Harper for a long time. We've always said that he's an amazing performer, amazing worker, does all kinds of stuff, and he's just never gotten that real opportunity underneath the Wyatt family, Bludgeon Brothers, and then just kind of vanished into non-existence, right?
Yeah, right.
And he's just never really gotten. So at the same time, I'm sitting there going, I'm happy for dude. Like, look at him go. So, yeah, that's what I want to see.
He looked great in this squash match. Not surprisingly, he was doing it for how long in WWE, squashing people only with a mallet, looking like a World of Warcraft cosplayer. So yeah, this is great. Let him come out and work. And it was interesting because I forget if it was Shivani or Jericho. Someone on commentary mentioned, like, we got a bunch of giants in this company.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it. I remember that was one of our initial things was they got Jake Hager. That's about it. That's the only like big scary guy they got. Now they got Hager. They got Archer. They got Brody Lee. Every once in a while, Jeff Cobb shows up. Not that he's a giant, but he's a big dude. They got some bigger dudes there now.
Yeah.
And it ain't like Dustin Runnels Dustin Rhodes is a little guy either. So they got some big guys. So definitely, I think that's exciting. I'm glad they're moving in the right direction, and I've got high hopes for Brody Lee still. My jury is still out. I'm still remaining skeptically optimistic.
Well, hold that thought for 1 second, because Kendall just dropped $50 in the tip jar.
Oh my
God.
Kendall, thank you very much. Luchasaurus, thank you, Jacob, as well. Luchasaurus, also a big guy. Kendall, thank you so much.
Thank you,
That
Kendall.
is very, very kind of you.
Holy
We very
smokes.
much appreciate it. Oh, yes.
You guys.
A couple more things. Dude, it's it's awesome. You guys are freaking awesome. Marco Stunt was eyeballing Brody Lee. Marco got murdered by Lance last week. Is Marco going to try and slay another giant? Are we going to see Jurassic Express get involved at some point? Well, wait and see.
Yeah, let's see what happens there, because I wouldn't be mad at Luchasaurus versus Lance Archer.
Man, that's definitely one I've been looking forward to.
Give it to me. Put it in my eye holes. All right.
Yes.
Last couple of things here. Look, Matt Hardy went just crazy.
Full on broken.
We're back on the Hardy compound. I guess we're doing the full elite deletion now. Deleting the elite.
We're having the elite deletion.
Elite
deletion.
Yes.
He challenged Jericho to the elite deletion. Bring your inner circle, your circle that is internal, and face me on the Hardy compound. Yep. Rattle off a bunch of big old broken Matt promo.
Yep.
Sammy Guevara is a false god. Proud and powerful are loud and devourable. He compared Jake Hager to a Frankenstein just missing his bolts. Yeah, so it was you have Vanguard 1 have a cameo with Hardy's new t-shirt.
Oh man.
Called Jericho's shirt a dumpster fire and turned to have a little wasn't a dumpster, it was like a fire pit, but he had the shirt burning in there. It was on fire. So yeah, this was just a very short little fully broken vignette.
Yes.
Mwah, it is back, Nick. It's back.
Dear Matt. Dear Cody and AEW. Just let him go. Just let him do this. Go with it. Just if you I hope you were watching an Impact a few years ago when he was doing it. Just don't say anything. Just let him do what he does. Please. It's amazing.
This poor guy, man. I went to WWE, tried to get them to do it, and Vince just did not get it.
Nope.
Just didn't get it. And remember, it's funny, Nick, to think back on it because, and I know we do this all the time, but whatever. We'll do it again. Just thinking about when he first came to WWE, we're like, broken universe in WWE. And then he couldn't do it for like 9 months because Anthem was holding on to the rights.
Right.
And then when he finally did it, the audience was kind of like, wait, what was it again?
Yeah.
And they didn't remember. And he never really got a chance to let his freak flag fly on it. He never really got to go all the way because apparently Vince just didn't quite get it and didn't let him. You had to have let him off the chain entirely. Just do your thing for people to get back into it. Like this right here. If you had done this, people would have gotten back into it because at first they'd have been like, what the hell is going on? And then very quickly been like, this is amazing. So yeah, it's crazy to see the evolution of all this. He's finally come full circle and he's back to doing it. And it's fantastic. Yeah. It's great. It's great stuff.
Awesome.
Also great stuff. My God, we had an extended video package kind of ran throughout the show, building up Jon Moxley versus Jake Hager. It was almost like an ESPN special before a fight. And when they talk about sports presentation, they want their show to be sports presentation. Did you feel like this is exactly what they were talking about?
Yeah, weigh-ins before a boxing match, things like that. Hager had his wife punching him in the chest and stretching him out and doing all that stuff. She even got interviewed. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
When do you leave Anna Jay for Jake Hager's wife is my next question.
She's a married woman.
You do have standards.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. Okay. Just making sure. So if they ever break up, however, you're on the prowl.
Now, it does appear they are in an open relationship because she did make out ringside with Dustin Rhodes. So I'm just saying, who knows the constraints in their situation, right?
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, if you ever get mad at Jake Hager, just remember, Nick, you can make out with his wife at ringside, and we'll see how that goes for you.
Yeah.
Because he came off looking downright terrifying in this. Like they showed him training, and his promo work in this superlative.
Yes.
Absolutely fantastic. Moxley, you got what you're gonna get from Moxley. Like it was a typical Moxley promo. It's gonna be violent. We're gonna beat the crap out of each other. That sort of thing. Whereas Jake Hager, I was very impressed by here. And overall, it did build this match up to be two big dudes having a slobber knocker.
I can't wait.
Jake Hager can take you out in a second with that triangle choke.
Somehow
Moxley just a dude doesn't stay down.
Somehow we got to the point where Jake Hager is the #1 contender. Somehow Jake Hager got to the top of that list, and they took the time
4-0
to outline all of that in the bracket, like sort of bracketology. I was just like, wow, I wasn't paying attention. Hell, he snuck up there real quick. Okay.
Well, and it's interesting because it is kind of like boxing or MMA where you can just have, like, if you have a good record, that's going to help. Yep. But at the end of the day, it's about who the promotion wants to put up. You know what I mean? Like you can be 16-0 and a 4-0 guy can get the title shot before you.
Sure.
If there's more heat behind that guy and the crowd wants to see that more.
Draw.
So that felt very realistic. Right. If you're more of a draw, that felt realistic as well. So this all actually was set up beautifully, honestly, to build this match up and make me excited to see it, which is the whole point. Put butts in the seats.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the fact that they pointed out Jake Hager, he didn't take the full paradigm shift. It wasn't an elevated, DDT. He just took like a straight up DDT. But I love that they even had Moxley saying, I spent time perfecting this move. This is the move that's taken out countless people, won me championships. This dude had me in an ankle lock 5 seconds after I gave him this move. That's scary. If you don't think that worried me, you're wrong. So, they gave a whole lot of aspects. We don't have time to get into all the aspects they went into on this, all the angles they got. But it was a great way to really define a match that there hadn't been a lot of build for. I want to flip my desk. This is how you do a build when you have almost no time to do a build. They built this.
Or nothing to really build around.
Right. you had like 1 or 2 moments of physicality, and then you had this with them talking about each other, why this match is going to be something to watch. And boom, you've got a match. You've got interest.
Like before everything started, we had Roman Reigns come out and go, "I'm next." Right?
Yeah.
No effort, no reason, just because of what he. Now, we had no reason for Jake Hager really to go up against Moxley for the championship in AEW. Maybe indirectly because his association with Jericho in the Inner Circle. You could maybe connect that web. But there was really no reason. But look at what it's turned into when they invest the time into doing a little bit of effort.
Well, you say Roman Reigns and Goldberg. Let's look at that because that's the most recent example of just something being thrown together.
Forgetting what's happened since. That was just the one thing.
But even then, like, you don't announce Braun until the weekend of. You could have built something on SmackDown for it. You could have. They knew Roman wasn't going to do it. They'd already taped it.
Yep.
You could have absolutely done something on Friday to set up Braun versus Goldberg. You absolutely could
have Braun like kicking down Vince's office door and be like, "I want that shot." Brr! Just
give us a reason
something.
to care. And it's not, you don't have to give that much. They even gave a little bit with Roman and Goldberg, where they showed Roman's career, they showed Goldberg's career, and it's a clash. But even then, we didn't know why these two guys, just because they're big masculine bulls, is the only reason why they don't like each other.
No reason to invest, and that's the difference. And Moxley's promos with Moxley and Hager that have been going on for like 3 weeks now, we are just being given. They're just spoon feeding us.
Right, but this is the piece de resistance of all of that.
Yeah,
and it's another example of, here's two big alpha males. They're gonna lock horns, but why should we care? We see big alpha males lock horns every week on wrestling TV. Why should we care about this one? And this one, they had both guys talking about it. They showed them training. They gave stakes. Why? Jake Hager, why do you want the title? I'm a prize fighter. I want this for my family. Moxley, why do you want the title? Because I'm an asshole. No one else gets my title, and I want to be on top of the world because it's me.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm in.
Good stuff. I'm in. That's all you had to do with Goldberg and Roman, is give us something like that where we invest as to why these two dudes care about each other. And they gave us the barest outline of that on WWE, but they didn't drive it home.
Yeah.
But this shows how it can be done. So, and WWE built up other matches just great. Just those ones, the two big dudes fighting for a championship. It's very good parallels.
I was bringing that up specifically for something I want to say later when we get to the sort of end of SmackDown, or depending on where you got it in the notes here, because that's a little teaser. I want to talk about something later for sure.
All right. We'll get to that then. But Nick, if we're going to do that, we need to hurry up and get on over to NXT.
Mauro Ranallo's back.
Yes, he is.
And I want to start this off by saying, hat tip to Mauro Ranallo. Welcome back. And you just called an entire show by yourself.
Well, he called 25 minutes of a show, maybe 20 minutes of a show.
That's fair.
Let's be clear.
That's fair.
He called maybe half an hour if you watch the full hour and a half version of NXT. He called maybe half an hour, 35 minutes of a show, because most of the show was Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa for the last time, and there was no commentary on that. And yes, Mauro, of course, being the pop culture catchphrase man that he was, did start the show with, "Hello, all you cool cats and kittens." And I was eating cereal and I spat it all over my table because that got me. I wasn't ready for that one.
No.
That was funny. All right, let's talk about it. It was the big match of the show. It was 40 minutes long. It was about the same length as Edge versus Randy Orton, which is getting a lot of heat for being too long and for dragging. Gargano and Ciampa. Starts off with Gargano pulling up in a van in an SUV being driven by his wife, Candace. She hands him a little paper bag of something and drives off. She looks very disappointed in him. He walks in. Tommaso's already there. Triple H is there, sitting in the ring, looking glum. The room's all smoky. It's been cleared. It's just a ring. Drake Wirtz is there, not wearing referee, just wearing all black. And Triple H says, "All right, here it is. once you guys start, that's fine. It begins in the ring. It ends in the ring. Drake's just here to count the pin. And after this, it's done. You guys are done. All right? You cool? All right. Once that door shuts behind me, it's go time. Walks out. Boom. Door closes. And we get the match. To try to go through every beat of this match, Nick, would take way too long. But basically, it was like a highlight reel of all of the spots they did with their past matches, plus a few new ones thrown in. They fought out into the area around the ring. There was trash cans, there was tables, fire extinguishers, bunch of brutal spots. The ring mat got pulled up, exposing the wood again. They were outside. They went outside at one point and got up onto a big old truck, production truck, fought on the top of the truck, fought their way back inside. Ends up in just a absolutely brutal, just slugfest inside the ring. There's a crutch, of course. And then I don't want to talk about the ending just yet. Let's take it to where we are right here. That's about 35 minutes of wrestling. 35 minutes of wrestling. And it's not even, I don't even call it wrestling. Like it's professional wrestling, but it was more of just a brutal beatdown slugfest. What did you think about it up to this point?
I was mad at this point.
Wow. Okay. So why were you mad? What about it? Was it the production, the presentation? Why were you mad?
I was let me be clear, because we're not talking about the ending yet.
Let's not talk about the ending.
I was upset. I wasn't mad yet.
Oh. Okay. Maybe we should talk about the ending to get. Okay, well, why were you upset at this point?
Why don't you go ahead and detail the ending so that I can just I got
all of it
a
out.
lot I need to say right here. And
oh, damn. All right. So I'll finish up.
Let's finish up
it.
with how it ended and how we closed out NXT and how we went to Black, because there's a lot to say here.
Okay. So they're beating the crap out of each other. It's the point where neither of them can stand up. They just it's basically like I don't know. I want to give an example of another pop culture fight, like an anime fight where they're perfectly evenly matched and all they're going to do is just keep destroying each other, but neither of them can ever truly win. It kind of got to that point at the end where they were just going to keep hitting each other. They were just going to keep fighting and fighting until they couldn't move. And neither one could ever really win, which I'm just going to inject here, I thought was a nice touch. And then Candice shows up. Candice comes through the door, finds the two of them just barely able to move inside the ring, starts crying, comes in and just like, what are you guys doing? As if she didn't already know. What are you guys doing? What are you doing to each other? Johnny, what the hell is this? Is this who you are? Crying at him, kind of like pushing him off of Ciampa and accusing Ciampa is like, are you happy now? I hate my husband. Are you happy now? And then she turns around and kicks Johnny Gargano. Square in the Garganos. Drops him to the floor. Leaves him. Walks out of the ring. And Gargano crawls over to Ciampa. And they kind of embrace. And they say that they're sorry. And it's this emotional moment where it looks like they might make up. They help each other to their feet. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Candice comes from behind Ciampa and kicks him in the ghoulies from behind. Drops him to the floor. Johnny Gargano's kneeling in front of him. He pulls out a cup. He had a cup. He was protected. That's what Candice gave him in the bag. She'd given him a cup. She protected him. And he throws it in Ciampa's face. He smushes it in Ciampa's face and says, ha, 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 I got you.
I win.
And as Ciampa's, I win. As Ciampa's laying there, laid out, Johnny and Candice cackle and walk off and drive away. That's the end of the match. So, Candice heel turn. This is supposedly the last time ever we swear we promise that these two are going to fight. Nick, how did this leave you feeling? Give me your, go on. You said you had a lot to say. That was the match. They fight forever until they can't fight anymore. And then Candice comes in and swerves us by pretending to kick her, or by kicking her husband, but giving him protection, and then taking out Ciampa, and they drive off. Where are you at? What you feeling?
Overall, this felt like long match for the sake of long match. You could have done all this in 20 minutes. You had a exposed ring spot and you had an outdoor truck spot, which really doesn't make any sense to go outside with a truck spot anyway. You could have done all this in the ring. I actually really liked the darkened arena with Drake in all black. I liked that element of it. It looked good. I liked the way it started with Johnny walking in, Triple H sitting in there in a chair and said, all right, I told you boys last week.
Yep.
This is it. When I go through that door, you're on
Felt
your own.
very Fight Club.
Don't mind
Felt very
it.
Fight Club.
Yep.
Very like unsanctioned.
Two men.
Very
It's
unsanctioned.
Thunderdome.
Match.
2 men enter, 1 man leaves. Right? It's
Yep.
just unsanctioned kind of stuff. Exactly.
Yeah.
Dark match. Good old traditional dark match.
Not even traditional. This was I think really crossing over into cinematic territory. They shot it very much like the Boneyard match, where it was cinematic. There was music going, but there was no announcer. But where the Boneyard match really nailed it because it was just it was campy and it was cheesy.
Hang on, don't go off to
this
the
felt
side
very gritty.
just yet.
I'm not going off to the side. I'm just talking about the production real quick.
It
I'm
was
just saying,
it
like,
was
compared
way too
to the
long,
Boneyard.
and it felt like they were trying to compete with some of the 60-minute matches of New Japan or the big long matches that we had over WrestleMania weekend. It was just long for the sake of being long. And there's part of me that appreciated that the blow-off of all blow-offs is what this has been set up to be. Over the course of these guys' past 4 years in career, through DIY, through Ciampa's heel turn on his return, all of this stuff, right? It just we have all been along for this ride. We all wanted this to culminate at WrestleMania. 1, I didn't get it at fucking WrestleMania. And excuse me, but I'm really pissed off about that. 2, I'm really upset that I didn't get this with a crowd. The novelty of the no crowd stuff is really starting to wear off on me. And it's nice at first. You want to give it a pass at first, but it's starting to wear on me. It's really starting to weigh pretty heavily on me. So when you do these really, really long matches where there's no crowd, it kind of just grates on you even more that,
right.
Yeah, there's nobody there to enjoy this or egg these guys on. 3, the heel won.
Yeah.
The heel won. They can't be done. There's going to have to be another match.
Right.
They're
did not feel like
they're not done. Like
this didn't feel like yeah. There's
after
no
all
resolution.
that, we're still
It
not
didn't feel
done.
like resolution. Agreed. It didn't feel like resolution.
And then Candace.
You're pure
what?
little Candace.
You know what?
Mm-hmm.
I actually would not have been this bent out of shape at this had the culmination of this 4 years been these two brothers, these two warriors, brothers at arms, at the very end, but leave Candace out of it, just had beaten each other down so much that they just had nothing more to give, and they had just looked at each other at the end and gone, what are we doing? I'm sorry, man. And just like that, had you ended it in an elegant sort of way. But no, you had to have a heel win. You brought in his wife to turn on the other guy to cheat him, whatever that was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Then she's on social media posting pictures of purple hair and shit afterwards. And like, what is going on?
Well, I don't mind the Candace thing. I don't mind having another heel in the women's division in NXT. I think they've got maybe a few too many, but we'll see what their plan is with that. I'm not mad at that. I think that's fine. Candace wasn't really going anywhere as a face anyway, so I think switching her character up could be good for her.
She had a pretty badass ladder match about an hour before this,
which we'll talk about in a second. Which she didn't really play a whole big part in. She was in the finish and she lost. Yeah. So at a certain point, her face character isn't winning matches and not even getting close. Not even like at no point in that match did I think, oh, Candace is winning this one. You know, and that's kind of the perception of her. So she needs to shake it up. She needs to change up. And from a kayfabe logic perspective, if her husband's a heel, how long is she going to play the angry wife before you just go, dude, just leave the guy if he's such an asshole?
Like when she came in and she said, fine, I'll finish it, and kicked him in the groin. That's where I just went, oh, I'm out. I'm done. Yep, no more.
Oh, wow, really?
Nope. I couldn't take it anymore. And then she came back in and kicks Ciampa. Kicks Tommaso in the Ciampa.
Right. Well, she has been a part of it before, right? Her marriage to Johnny has been an element of the story before. So I didn't think that was, let me put it this way. I wasn't mad at Candice being involved in the finish, but the fact that it left feeling unfinished made me roll my eyes pretty damn hard. Like I was like,
when
really?
they go out to this car, get in it and drive off, and we get the trademark, and it comes like, how is this supposed to be over? It's not over.
Right. So you're not mad that Johnny won. You're just mad that it doesn't feel like it. Like this is supposed to be the end of it, and it didn't feel like the end of it. And you just spent 40 minutes supposedly going to get the climax.
No, I didn't just spend 40 minutes. I just spent the last 2 years because we didn't get the finish.
Come on.
Listen, and I'm sorry, Ciampa. I know you hurt your neck, brother, and you had to go have surgery. That's not the point.
I was going to say, yeah.
The brilliance, the reason we were both all so invested in the two of these men was because of Johnny's rocket-like ascension to the top and Ciampa's surprise return after neck surgery, coming out to no music, booze, dragging his crutch, and just
that was the high point, yeah.
Right, and that built to what was going to be one of the most amazing feuds and WrestleMania matches. We got 2 out of 3 falls matches, last man standing matches that were just amazing. We've all been so invested in this ride. And this is supposed to be the end of it? No.
The problem is, though, here's the thing. Let's say that they fought until neither guy could move and they were both just dead and it was a draw. That's not advancing anything. Nothing is moving forward there. It's just done. And then where do they go from there? Do you know what I mean? Like I think at the end they were like, we need to get to a place where things have changed and moved on to something else. I just don't know if this was the right one to do. I don't know if this was the right way to do that. It didn't
them
connect.
Back and forth, face and heel for the last 18 months, I think has been a big mistake. Ciampa coming back as some kind of big face.
Yeah, that was weird.
It's just been weird ever since then, and I haven't bought back in, frankly. And then we go off on the whole Adam Cole tangent with Ciampa and Gargano, and they both I don't know what I've lost the thread. Like you've all the investment we all had in Tommaso Ciampa versus Gargano 2+ years ago. I feel like it's gone.
I don't mind that it's like they're in each other's orbits, but they can never quite leave, even if they try.
Yeah.
It all comes back to each other. The problem is it feels like we're still in that pattern.
Yeah.
It's like you guys passed
nothing.
again, and it didn't solve anything. Right. It didn't finish anything. No. Now there's still freaking beef. There's even more beef, if anything, because a whole new reason to have beef now. But it's now they're just not allowed to fight. Like, is that going to be where it goes? Like, nope, we said it was the last one. Sorry, Tommaso, you don't get to get revenge now. Now, how long is that going to last? So that is frustrating.
I can't remember the last time I was mad at NXT.
I guess the thing that I had the biggest beef about, and I wasn't mad after this. I was just kind of like, all right, fine. You know, I didn't have any big emotions either way, which is also, it's kind of damning as well. I wanted to feel something from this. I didn't feel anything, and that's almost worse. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like the parents like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. That's kind of where I was about it. I was just
that's your dad. I'm not mad at you. I'm just disappointed.
I was disappointed in this. All of the spots seemed arbitrary. Like in a match that's supposed to feel organic, this felt arbitrary. Why are they on top of the truck? Because there's a truck there. Why are they back out in the stands again? Because there's stands there. You know, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? It's just because it's there. It's just because they have to. Like nothing felt organic. There was a couple times where you could see them considering what to do next. Like, I'm going to do this because, I got this. So that means but very rarely did I feel like they were considering what to do next and thinking and planning. It just seemed like they were doing things because they had to.
You use big truck high spots like that as an ultimate finisher after you've torn the ring apart and done your standard stuff that you normally do, and that still doesn't put them down. Then you drag them outside and throw them off the top of a truck.
But remember,
why do it in the middle?
Did that? We just did that with Orton and Edge. That spot just happened in another
he didn't
match.
Throw Edge off the truck, or or vice versa. But
But you know what I mean? Yeah. Like this just happened. Like if you're gonna have another match like Edge and Orton, don't be like Edge and Orton. And this felt too much like Edge and Orton, just with less commentary, so it was just more kind of...
people were saying Edge and Orton even felt like rehashed Ciampa Gargano tearing up the Performance Center. So what do you want?
Right. Pretty much.
Right?
Pretty much. So ultimately, I guess what we're saying is this was disappointing. And it had all the potential. All the potential was there. There was a lot of good aspects to it that I could point out. A lot of things that I liked about it. But ultimately, disappointing. And, yeah, just felt open-ended, too, which it wasn't supposed to.
No, it was supposed to be the great... It's supposed to be Frodo throwing the ring into Mount Doom. Like, it's supposed... Like, done. It's finished. It doesn't. It feels like the end of Fellowship.
Ironically, just like Frodo throwing the ring in Mount Doom, there's still an hour left of movie. So
right.
So, oh man, well it is a bummer, but hopefully they will in a year or two have another one that surpasses it because an audience will be there. That wasn't all that was on NXT though, Nick. We also had a 6-woman number 1 contenders ladder match with Mia Yim, Chelsea Green, Dakota Kai, Candice LeRae, Io Shirai, and Tegan Nox. And this was a fun, exciting match that was as good as it could be without an audience, which is kind of, that should just be an automatic caveat at this point to any match.
Yeah.
It was as good as it could be without an audience. These women killed themselves out there too. Like just another ladder match where it's just like, oh my God, they're doing this and they don't even have the adrenaline of an audience. The adrenaline like that an audience gives them to see them through some of these spots.
This is one of those 2 + 2 = 4 kind of things. You're going to take the women's division in NXT and give them a ladder match and hang a number 1 contender briefcase as a little teaser for Money in the Bank coming up soon. Where's my popcorn? Just put it in my eye holes just all day.
Perfect length for a match like this with no crowd too. Like there was no filler.
About 25 minutes, I think.
All action.
Yeah.
Like they got their spots in. Everyone had a spot. Everyone had a moment. The feuds that existed, like the kind of the simmering feud between Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai was given time. Some of the beef between like Mia Yim and Dakota Kai, Candice LeRae and Io Shirai have beef. Chelsea Green's just a dick and hates everybody. Everyone hates her. And like they got some time where they showed how the relationship between her and Robert Stone is working when she had her leg busted at one point and tried to crawl up the ladder. She couldn't make it. So Stone ran up the other side of the ladder with his sparkly shoes with no socks, which was the biggest heel move of the entire match to me.
What, not wearing socks?
Not wearing socks with sparkly shoes.
With loafers.
You bastard. You son of a bitch.
Oh.
He's got heat with me now.
Yeah, exactly.
But he pulls her up, tries to get her the briefcase, very Ellsworth-like. And that didn't work out. They both got tossed off of the ladder in Chelsea took a nasty landing on those ropes. So everyone got their moment. And of course, Io Shirai not only did a really gnarly rope to a splash spot where she was on the ladder, they pushed the ladder over. She somehow managed to balance on the damn rope while it was being hit by a ladder, and then did a splash off of it onto a bunch of women. But it ended with Shirai and Candice LeRae climbing the ladder on opposite sides. Shirai grabs Candice by the face, shoves her off. She bounces off a ladder that had been set up in the corner, and Shirai grabs the briefcase. Tegan Nox also took a brutal ladder spot where she got thrown off. She get kicked by Dakota Kai? It kicked her off, and she went splat through a ladder that was set up outside of the ring, and then sold it like death. Props to Tegan Nox sell on this spot, by the way. She looked dead. I loved it. Raquel Gonzalez was involved as well. Anyway, so it was a great match. Io Shirai is your winner. What do you think about Io Shirai as the number 1 contender for Charlotte Flair's NXT title?
If you had told me at the Royal Rumble that Charlotte Flair winning would ultimately lead to her beating Rhea Ripley for the NXT Women's Championship and then going on to face Io Shirai, I would have laughed at you. I would have told you were crazy, and I would have told you that WWE would never give that to us.
And yet,
here we are.
And yet here we are. For everyone who's mad.
If I've ever said put it in my eye holes, I'll never say it more emphatically than I will right now. Io Shirai chasing Charlotte Flair for the NXT Women's Championship. Put it in my eye holes. Yes. All day.
The only downside is we know Shirai's not beating her for the damn thing, which does kind of suck. But it's Charlotte.
I'm not making that
everybody. Bet. I am. Charlotte's not dropping it that
Charlotte
quickly.
Needs to come back to the main roster, so I wouldn't put it past him.
No, they're going to have her go against a bunch of the women in NXT. just work with them. This is just a really good way to start. For anyone who's mad at Charlotte being champ, here's the thing. Say what you will about her. She is an absolutely fantastic wrestler. She's one of the best wrestlers they have.
Yeah.
There's a reason why she's at the top spot, and it's not just because her last name's Flair. It's because she's actually really good. I want to see her against Io Shirai. I want to see her against Tegan Nox. I want to see her against Mia Yim. Like, I want to see her against a lot of these women. Candice LeRae. Yeah, cool. Bring it on.
Here's the other thing I'll say about this. And this was one of the problems with Baszler's reign previous to this.
Sure. And Asuka's previous to that.
Baszler was always involved. The thing about this match is there was no Rhea Ripley. There was no Bianca Belair. Charlotte was nowhere near it. It was a legit number one contenders match. There were no interferences. Yes. There were no super people involved in it. It was a scrum, right? Whoever can get to the top of that ladder, and I loved that for it.
Yes.
So I had that. To me, it was one of the things that stood out to me is like, they haven't done this in a while, where they just let the number one contenders have a cat fight and just go at it and see who can come out on top. Going into this with the cast of characters that we had, Io Shirai was the obvious favorite. I was wondering if they were going to pull the trigger on a Dakota Kai here. That was a kind of an outside guess, but I'm not unhappy with this result in any way whatsoever, and it was a fantastic match.
If you want to make Charlotte being NXT champ exciting, this is the way to do it.
Yep.
I think this is gonna make a lot of the naysayers for that, hush up a little bit on it.
We could have really do. Moonsault off between the two of them.
Yeah, this is going to be a fantastic match. Even though I don't think that Shirai is winning in any world, I just want a good match, man. I just want good matches, and I think that this is going to be one.
So you think Charlotte's going to hold down NXT while Becky's got Raw and Bayley and Sasha are holding down SmackDown? Is that what you're looking at there from a landscape perspective? Yes,
and at some point there'll be a redemption story for Rhea Ripley, maybe in 6 months. I don't know, however long it is. And that's fine. That's fine. I'd love to see Charlotte working against a lot of this up-and-coming talent. I think that's a great option. I understand why they're doing it. People that feel like Charlotte's burying everybody, you've got to have her. These talents aren't going to beat the top people right off the bat. You can't. That's not how it works. They have to build themselves up. But letting them work against someone who knows what she's doing, who can teach them stuff, like Charlotte, I think that's a good opportunity.
Sure.
So, and having someone who's a world-class talent like Io Shirai, who doesn't really need to be taught a whole lot, being the first one to go against her and kind of show like, hey, all right, we're not just going to have Charlotte kills people's matches. We're going to have actual freaking matches. Like, dude, Charlotte Rhea was one of the best matches of WrestleMania. Go back and look.
It was.
That was one of the best matches. Like, even you can be mad at Charlotte winning, but you got a goddamn good match. You can be mad at Charlotte beating Io Shirai. You're going to get a good match. So it's not like we're going to have just squash, and she's going to make them all look like crap. She's going to make them look good.
Mm-hmm.
So I see this as a net positive.
Yeah.
So one more thing we had on this show, Indus Sher. It's the new tag team, the two big Indian dudes led around by Malcolm Bivens. Malcolm Bivens. I love it. I'm so in already. I've been telling y'all forever about Malcolm Bivens. This is going to be fantastic. I love these two workers. They could be the new AOP. I'm actually going to call them the new AOP. Just two big, or the new Ascent, which was the new Ascension. Whatever. The two big. They always have like the big heavies.
Yeah.
On the tag division. I love it. They're going to go a long way. They beat up Everrise, Chase Parker, Matt Martell, who we've seen a couple times before getting beat up. But what do you see as the potential of Indus Sher? Like obviously I love him. I'm all in. What do you think about Indus Sher?
I'm not all in yet, but I see the potential. I want to see a little more than them dragging a squash match out for 10 to 15 minutes, which is basically all this was. Why did it have to go on as long? Because we're filling time right now. I understand. Look, I want to be clear about that. I understand why Ciampa Gargano was 45 minutes, whatever it ended up being. I understand why this pretty traditional squash match went on for 10 minutes or more when it should have been 30 seconds. And maybe Malcolm Bivens promoing over the top of their dead corpses in the middle of the ring, which is what you should be doing with these guys.
I'll agree with that.
But I'm not there yet. I I haven't seen enough. I want to see them have matches. I want to see them, like, we know that, well, we can't talk about it yet because we got to talk about it with SmackDown. Things are changing in the tag division in NXT, and for the better, right? Let's bring up some new tag teams, but we're also moving some people on. So I want to see how the tag division shapes up, because right now you had to go and scramble, bring in some UK guys like the Grizzled Young Vets, and throw a couple of singles guys together like the Broserweights in order to pull off your Dusty Classic this year. So I'm still a little bit iffy on the tag division in NXT when traditionally it's been like lights out. Like, where is it at right now? Where's Undisputed Era?
And to be clear, yes, I know these guys are still pretty green, but that's why NXT is NXT. It's for them to get that experience, work with guys like Lorcan and Birch, work with guys like Undisputed Era, learn some of the ways that this works. I think they've got a ton of potential. So to me, they're exciting.
Yeah. And to close things out here real quick, Esme Booby Champ, as she's named herself, threw $10 into the tip jar saying, toss a coin to your podcaster, oh Valley of Plenty.
I'm not even...
Thank you, Esme.
You got to work on that. You got to work on that.
I am not a singer. I'm a drummer.
We saw...
I am not Don Henley.
Tells you all you need to know. You're Phil Collins. We saw another Killer Cross little vignette. Waiting to see what happens with him. He was not involved in Gargano Ciampa, so that was interesting. But yeah,
what are your thoughts on overall, Cross? By the way, I think they've got him and Scarlett Bordeaux kind of setting up a pairing there potentially. That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah, I'm curious if they're going to bring him out still with Scarlett Bordeaux. I'm very curious what they have in store for him. They're making him look like some sort of apocalyptic monster right now. So that could be very cool. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Looking forward to seeing where they're going with all this stuff, Nick. But that's it for this week on NXT, which means, oh, by the way, speaking of the tag division, Nick, in NXT, one of the reasons I think they called up Indus Sher is they lost another major component. You may have forgotten about who they were, but you won't if you watched Friday Night SmackDown.
We're going to start off the same way we started SmackDown.
Man. There go my ear holes. But yes, I instead of talking about those you may have forgotten, we are going to start off with the monster among men, Braun Strowman, your new Universal Champion, the cursed blue title. So he celebrated his win over Goldberg by coming out and celebrating and saying, I'm the new champion. But he's very quickly interrupted by Nakamura and Cesaro, who came out and said, yeah, it's great, but we've got beef with you. Long story short, we ended up with a match between Braun Strowman and Nakamura. And just because Braun needed to recoup his loss over Nakamura, who took his Intercontinental Championship away from him, gave it to Sami Zayn, well, Nakamura got taken out by Strowman here. And lest you think that they gave Nakamura some time after this, no, he lost, and immediately we get a Firefly Funhouse skit. Bray shows up and says, hey, Braun, remember when I got you out of the swamp and gave you your career? That's great. Why don't you apologize to me for leaving? And, oh, by the way, you have something that I want. Why don't you give me that as well?
I was hoping this is what would happen.
No, you were not.
What?
Nick.
No, let me be clear. Bray calling back again to something that happened previously to do with the Wyatt family, and I like this thing where he's going back and getting redemption on all the people that have wronged him, including Braun failing to assist him and turning on him and throwing the black mask at him and going off on his own. Are you not looking
at the bigger picture here, though?
What?
Look at the big picture. Okay, well, first of all, Nakamura irrelevant. I guess we don't have to talk about any of the Nakamura stuff.
Yeah, nobody cares.
That right. It was just there.
By the way, what I do care about is that goddamn Loch Ness monster. Sorry, Mr. D threw $3.50 into the tip jar.
Mr. D,
because
thank you.
I'm gonna need about $3.50. $3.50.
$3.50. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Loch Ness monster.
All right, before I lose my point here. Pause. Bray back in the title picture. It's not even that it's Strowman. Like, hey, cool, they have history. We knew at some point he was coming for Strowman. he just lost the title to Goldberg, and we were so mad because it was dumb. And looking back in hindsight, it was really dumb. Really didn't have to happen. But now he's already back in it, and either he loses to Strowman and it sucks, or he beats Strowman and becomes a champ again and it sucks. Either way, this sucks. Why is he back in the title picture already, Nick?
I don't know that it needs to happen tomorrow.
It's
like
maybe
you draw this out, right? It doesn't.
Money in the Bank. It's going to happen in Money in the Bank. I guarantee it.
Allegedly, that's an Ian guarantee. I don't think it's gonna. I don't think that's gonna happen at Money in the Bank.
I'll guarantee it. Strowman versus Bray at Money in the Bank. Write it down.
There's no way Bray doesn't win.
Right, and then he's champ again. And you know what that leads to? Every road leads to Roman. And then Roman's going to take out the Fiend, and it's all going to... So no, I'm not happy about this. I love the fact they have a story to tell here. Great, you have a story to tell. But it's to tell the story when there's not a title involved. We're back to where we were with Seth, where it's like you didn't have to do this right now.
Yeah.
There's other things you could have done.
That's totally fair. I grant you that completely. I really think that the story here could be good, though. I really like the way Braun kind of landed the plane on this at the end. Anytime you're ready, I'm ready to let him in. You know, and because like that closing, like the first promo when he opened SmackDown was just like, all right, fine, roar, get these hands. And scripted promo XYZ, right. Blah, blah, blah. But the end, when he was talking directly to Bray, kind of just laughing, going, whenever you're ready, I'm ready to let you in.
All right, I'll take this on the level you're going at with this, which is just the story aspect.
It is what it is.
I agree with you. I like the fact that he is selling this like he knows who Bray is. He's selling this like, I understand what you are. I've been there. Like he's like an ex-cult member, right? He's like, I got out of your little circle. I know everything about you. I know what to expect. But he still sold him. He's like, I'm a little trepidatious about it. I know what you are, but I think I got this. I like again, the story is fine. The damn title's involved now. That's what I got beef with. That's what I'm like, no, don't put the
you're thinking 3 steps ahead that this is all just for Roman, which is going to drive you crazy. It's going to drive us both crazy. But don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
It's too late. It's out. It's there.
I know.
You know it's there. And they're going to keep him champ just long enough because they've got too many of this stupid face belts still in their warehouse they didn't sell yet because they're $5,000 goddamn dollars.
Six.
Okay, 6,000. So but they still got to sell those things. We got to have Bray be champ again. Oh, God. Sorry, this. I want to see the story again. I think this is a cool story. The cool things can be done with it.
Yep.
Obviously, these guys love working together. They're great friends in real life. Braun is Bray's son's godfather.
Right.
So this is obviously going to be a lot of fun for them.
Putting the Roman stuff aside and
it's there. It's the elephant in the room, Nick.
Putting the Roman stuff aside for the moment. I like this because what does Braun know that like maybe a Cena didn't know because he's been inside the walls? Does he know how to deal with Bray in a different way? Do we get as good of a story out of this? And I'm not going to say that it's going to be better than what we just saw at WrestleMania between Cena and Bray. I don't know that that'll ever be topped, frankly. But is Braun going to be able to tell a different, possibly more intriguing version? Possibly. He's not anywhere near the actor or the promo that Cena is, for sure. But a big guy able to go in and maybe potentially overpower the Fiend just with brute strength. I don't know. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it worked out real well last time someone overpowered the Fiend with brute strength, didn't it? I can't unsee the big picture on this. I'd love to see the story. And you're talking about the story. Oh, the story's gonna be great. I hope. Like you said, right now, like I've got all kinds of faith in Bray. I don't have faith in Vince. And I know that's what Vince is looking at in the big picture. He's going to strap him again real quick, and then we're off to the next. Who else does Bray have beef with?
What if Roman never comes back?
Well, then obviously plans change. All right, let's talk about something that's going to be fun for both of us. The Dirt Sheet. The Dirt Sheet is back. Miz and Morrison. Hey.
Ho.
Another great little segment with them talking about all the good news. How Morrison was the first man in history to retain a tag team championship by himself. Miz saying he was the first guy ever in history to retain a tag team championship from his couch, which Xavier Woods took exception to because he said he's been doing it for years now. This is a fun little segment. Of course, at the end, it was interrupted as soon as Miz and Morrison started going into a live version of Hey, Ho, Ho, which was, I'm sorry, this is classic. I was hoping, because, of course, the Usos and New Day come out to interrupt and say, hey, hold on a second. I was disappointed. I thought we were heading into Rap Battle Part 3. I need these three teams to have a rap battle. I just want to throw that out there right now. Considering how great the New Day versus Usos rap battle was, I need to see New Day versus Usos versus Miz and Morrison in a rap battle. Put that in my eye holes. Yeah, Nick, don't shake your head. You know you want it. You know you want it. You know you want it.
This was okay to me. By the end of it, they're singing their song, and I'm just like, oh God, okay.
I think the Usos are turning
I like
heel.
That's good news. I like all of those things. It felt a little slow, like they.
No, that was choppy. I love that they're talking about the Boneyard match. They're talking about AJ Styles got buried in the middle of the match. That's a nightmare I have on the regular. Oh, that's funny stuff. This was great. But the Usos, I thought, were turning heel because they interrupted the damn song. Yeah. They interrupted the song. It's like, that's a heel move. No, I'm obviously kidding. Whoa. All right. So you thought this was so-so. We ended up getting next week. It's going to be the triple threat the other way, singles match, Big E, Miz, and Jey Uso for the tag team championships, because we have to establish the other way around. And then if Miz retains there, they'll probably ask for a proper tag team match. That's fine. These guys are all entertaining. I was entertained by this segment. Were you not entertained, Nick?
It was fine.
At least
it was fine.
It was fine. All right. I was more entertained by this than I was by pretty much almost everything else on the show. Nikki Cross versus Kairi Sane in a pretty good match, actually. I will say that this match was actually pretty good.
It was fine.
But it was fine.
The backstage segment, not so much.
Yeah, well, backstage segment just kind of was. Nikki beats Kairi Sane straight up. I call it an NXT style match because they actually, worked. It was great. But then backstage, Nikki was feeling invincible. And Carmella and Dana came up to her and Alexa to say, well, if you're feeling invincible, why don't you let us have a shot at the tag team titles, because we're totally established tag team. And Alexa and Nikki had a quick conversation and said, all right, fine, sure. Nikki, lay off the caffeine. I don't know. I don't have much to say about this, Nick. Like, it's the women's tag team division. They're doing something with it at least, but is it enough? Or does this highlight how spare it is, how much there's just nothing going on with it?
I want to give them a pass.
Okay.
For what's going on right now. They're working with what they've got available. Even Carmella and Dana Brooke were self-isolating and self-quarantining and couldn't be involved previously. So now they're bringing them back. That makes me think that there's no other women available if they're bringing those two back and putting them in a tag match for the women's championships. Yeah, I'm not going to be too judgy on this because it is what it is. They're probably working with what they've got with the talent availability that they've got. The backstage promo was fun because Nikki and Alexa kind of made it fun. Carmella and Dana just kind of highlighting their weaknesses. What do you always say? Hide the weaknesses, focus on the strengths. Their strengths are not promos. So, well,
there's certainly not these awkward backstage ones where it feels completely staged and unnatural. Yeah. But it's hard to make these feel natural. So I'll give them a bit of a break there. Yeah. But again, I guess, and this someone just asked us in the chat too, and this is one of the places I was going with this, is it's the women's tag division. You only have so many tag teams. Where the hell are the Iconics?
Yep.
It's time. Like, obviously you can't really bring them back now, perhaps because of everything that's going on right now, and you might have a limited roster, but at some point, they're a damn tag team. They're a good tag team, I think.
Well, if I'm reading into it, Adam Cole's not letting anybody leave the house. I mean, of course,
Adam Cole. That's Britt Baker.
I understand. Britt Baker's over there. I'm thinking of Sean Spears.
Sean Spears.
So they're working. I don't know if Peyton just doesn't want to leave the house because they're constantly just showing videos of them swimming in the pool and doing all this stuff on social media. Why are they not working?
I don't know. Maybe they're not being called. I don't know why. I thought they were great. What do I know?
We don't know. My point being, all of these superstars are very active on social media. They're very sharey with what's going on. Obviously, they're not that sick, and what I read into that is that they're taking it personally, much like I am, to bolt the damn doors and stay inside and stay home, and personal safety is more important than being on SmackDown. So there are certain people that will go and work, that are willing to do that, or that need to. One
wonders if there will be any repercussions about that.
Yep. You weren't there when we needed you, pal.
Yeah, you didn't want to grab the brass ring.
No, I wanted to live.
The Corona flavored ring.
Right.
Sasha and Bayley were out to gloat about Bayley's win. Bayley ended up cutting, I think, one of her better heel promos. I got to throw this out here, Nick. I thought Bayley felt like the heel I wanted her to feel like at WrestleMania. Just this snart, like this nasty, gloating, just nasty heel. And out comes Tamina. You know, as you do. Tamina comes out and says, no one eliminated me. All four of you had to do it. So why don't you give me a title shot right now? And Bayley says, no, but you can fight Sasha. And Sasha was like, what? I'm gonna what? How about a what? What?
We know where
Bayley say what?
We know where this is going. They're gonna just keep dangling this carrot in front of us that Sasha's gonna turn on Bayley at some point.
Yep.
And they're just
Bayley keeps throwing her under the bus.
Yep.
You know, she's saying when I did this and I did that, and then correcting herself. I mean, we. So yeah, they're making it a longer build. I don't know if they're trying to build it to SummerSlam.
Should have done it last year.
But it's should have done a long time ago. Should have done it at WrestleMania. But here we are. We're slow playing this freaking turn. But is Sasha going to turn face? Like, again, already? How are they going to do this, Nick? What are we building to even here?
I don't know.
What are we even building to?
We don't know. They don't know.
Do you feel like they think we need to get more established traction as to why Sasha will finally turn on Bayley?
Maybe.
Or are they trying to swerve us at the end of this?
Because normally when they do stuff like this, it's just like, I want my shot at the title. It's that, childish. It's that petulant. But if they're doing the right thing here, yes, Bayley's kind of being a dick to Sasha. And eventually you can only take so much of that, but you're like, no, screw you, dude. Oh, hey, by the way, I want your title.
Then they're making it pretty obvious. Tamina even said, all right, cool, we'll have a match next week. If I win, I get a title shot. By the way, Sasha, your friend is screwing you over. So they're making it pretty obvious.
Yeah, it's coming.
And yeah, either they're making it obvious because they want to play the lowest common denominator, or they're making it obvious because they want to swerve us. And either way, I really have no idea where they're going to land this thing because, all right, Sasha turns on Bayley. Does that mean she's a face? Or I don't know. Or are they going to have another WrestleMania where we think she's going to turn and she's like, no, we're best friends. We're besties. Like at some point, I don't know. I maybe it's just that I'm not emotionally connecting with it too.
No, me either.
Yeah.
I'm kind of tuned out. I really haven't been on board with I was intrigued at the perspective of it, or the possibilities of the Bayley heel turn initially. I haven't gotten on board that train, and I know a lot of people like where it's starting to evolve into, and it's getting better and things like that. But I'm not there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Yeah. I'm afraid they're going to have to do some more to make me care too. Although Bayley's promo this week was a good way to start.
Sure.
Because she did come across as genuinely unlikable, which she needs to. Also genuinely unlikable, Dolph Ziggler, that rat bastard. And Sonya Deville came out and had a match with Tucker from Heavy Machinery. Dolph beating him straight up. He and Sonya explained they just want the best for Mandy. So this all is continuing. It all keeping on. We're all staying in each other's orbits over here. Otis and Mandy are off on Instagram working out together. Otis is holding bananas for some reason while Mandy does all the workout work.
Fantastic. Right. Is that a phallic reference of some sort, or like why is he holding a bunch of bananas? I don't.
Maybe it's like the King Kong reference. I don't know.
Maybe
saying that he's a big old ape and she's Fay Ray. I don't know, but it's adorable. I'm curious where all this is going. This I'm actually invested in. Of course we are, because we love that Otis Mandy thing. So,
point of order, if I can, real quick.
Point of order.
I know that Tucker was having the match against Ziggler this week, but if we're pairing Sonya Deville with Ziggler and Mandy Rose with Otis,
yes,
where's Tucker fit into this whole thing?
He's got his boys back, Nick. Don't you
listen,
don't you start.
I'm not saying he's going to turn on him. I'm saying, is he going to get lost? Are we going to, because this in no way doesn't end in some kind of intergender or mixed tag match with Sonya and Dolph, Mandy and Otis. Like, it's inevitable. At some point it's going to happen, or there's going to be like singles matches with each of their on the other sides. Where's Tucker in all this, though? Hopefully, after we saw that amazing Elimination Chamber performance and the gauntlet match before Elimination Chamber, that dude can, like, do we split up Heavy Machinery? Do they go off and have their own singles?
By the way, this match was really well worked, too. I mean, him and Dolph have great chemistry. They're both talented AF. They're both high, top-level amateur wrestlers. Yeah. So they're great in the ring together.
And he's a 300-pounder. You don't find those around the corner every day that can do the stuff that he does.
Agile as hell. So, yeah, I mean, Tucker going to be just fine. Remember back when he was in NXT, they called him up to the Greatest Royal Rumble. Like, he's earmarked.
Yeah.
Otis is an attraction. Tucker is a guy who can work.
Yep.
He is, in the best sense of the word, a good hand. So what they do with him, I'm very curious about, and I just hope that they don't screw it up by having him like turn on Otis or something and break up Heavy Machinery. No.
Well, I mean, what comes to mind from the look and the potential, and maybe never really going anywhere, is like a Snitsky, you know?
Oh no! Don't make him a Snitsky.
I don't want him to be another Snitsky where he just kind of does the same thing. And I don't want that to happen, but that feels like that potentially could happen.
No, okay.
Where
don't do that.
He's just going to have one catchphrase, have a short run, and then just be a big dude for the sake of being a big dude.
Kick a baby and then be gone.
Oh.
Just because you have Snitsky's beard doesn't mean that you should be referencing him in relationship to Tucker.
That thing is glorious now. If you guys haven't seen the special on Snitsky, it's that thing. That's going to be me in about 2 more weeks of quarantine.
Don't we have a listener who got hit by Snitsky in an indie wrestling match with a chair?
I think somebody actually wrestled him, yeah.
Yeah, he was like, we didn't talk about the match. He just started hitting me with the chair.
Like, what you guys can't see because of the lighting is the sides that are grown out to almost a foot now because I haven't had a trim in a few months.
He looks like if Santa Claus got electrocuted.
Right.
All right, Nick, let's get on to the next match. And this is one I know is going to be near and dear to your heart because, as we know, after WrestleMania, there's call-ups. People show up on each other's brands. And sure enough, we finally did get some call-ups this week on Smackdown. And of all the people to get called up, it was from a very, a tag team division that was already dying down there in NXT. It's very, very thin. They thinned it out even more by calling up the Forgotten Sons. And the Forgotten Sons debuted on SmackDown against the poor Lucha House Party, Metalik and Lince Dorado. All right, Forgotten Sons on the main roster. They had a Forgotten Sons match. They basically just beat the Lucha House Party into submission. Lucha House Party doing a whole bunch of flippy technical wrestling, and I got overwhelmed by the force of Forgotten Sons. They didn't even need to have Jackson Riker help them.
Oh,
just beat him straight up. What do you think about Forgotten Sons on the main roster? Are we that much closer now, Nick, to your prediction that Jackson Riker will one day main event WrestleMania?
Yes. Listen, can I be real? If I can be serious for a minute, They are going to be much more liked on the main roster than the very smarky kind of audience that is in NXT.
All right,
Here's
fair
what
enough.
I mean by that.
I'm
going to try to
they'll
say this
get
in the most nice, delicate way as I can, but I can get away with it because I'm from North Carolina. And I went to a military school. There is a unwritten sort of love for ex-military and sort of, I don't want to use the word rednecks, but kind of rednecks. Like, we love our rednecks in the South, like, right?
Yeah, good old boys.
The good old boys. We wear cut-off denim jackets and bikers and things like that. You know, there's a way of life down here. And there is a lot of that in the main roster audience.
Can I throw this out there?
Yeah.
Wesley Blake feels like a wannabe good old boy. Like, Cutler feels like that dude has been working on motorcycles since he was 2 years old.
Right.
Jackson Riker is Jackson Riker. He's just, he.
Marshall just said it in the chat. He's a North Carolina boy too. He said this call-up proves that someone in WWE listens to BWO. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
As if you need more. If you needed more proof, Here it is. But no, I love Wesley Blake. I'm glad he's finally on the main roster after all these years of toiling down in NXT. So he's finally on the main roster. He's never come across to me as like a real biker or like a real good old boy, anything like that. Like, he feels like a city boy who grew his hair long and started hanging out with bikers and is kind of like, oh, is what we do now? We get the back tattoos and yeah, let's chaw sounds good. Well, how do you do this? Like, that's what he feels like to me. Yeah. At least he is working hard and he's doing his best. Like, he's talented. All right, fine. All right. As you were saying, Nick, will they get over the main roster? Yes. They're heels. So this whole idea of the love for the military thing, I don't know if that's going to work for them in the way that you're thinking, but they'll definitely catch attention. And I think they're also going to be.
Let's not forget they're big jack dudes, and especially Jackson standing ringside. Listen, I think that dude's going to be a megastar one day in WWE.
Vince is going to take a look at Jackson Riker and go, yeah, give me that. Jackson Riker is everything Vince likes.
Yep.
Like, he's the warlord. He's Hercules all over again, right?
Yep.
Can't wrestle to save his life, but the dude looks amazing. He looks amazing. When he's standing there just jacked and staring into the camera like he's going to eat your babies, you just go, who the hell is this dude? But I know you have way more love for him than I do. But just to be clear, Jackson Riker is like prototypical Vince dude. So yeah, Vince going to take a look at him and be like, oh, what can we do with that guy?
Mm-hmm.
And the other Forgotten Sons in this tag division are going to stand out as well.
Yep.
You've got Miz and Morrison, kind of like, the happy-go-lucky dads. The mouthy dads. Yeah. You've got the Usos, who are the Usos. You got the New Day, who are the New Day. And then you got the Forgotten Sons. They stand out now in this tag division.
You have brawlers in the tag division now.
Right.
And it's been missing. Exactly. We've had all these mouthy and high spots and things like that. Yeah. No, now you've got some strikers, and it's going to fit
in really well. Yep. And you've also got a third in Jackson Riker. And when Xavier Woods comes back in a couple of months, that'll pair up really well with the New Day, where you have a 3-on-3. So I think that's going to that will all fit in fairly well. I'm actually feeling very bullish on the Forgotten Sons on the SmackDown roster. So
I think it's
put it that way. I just feel bad for Lucha House Party because goddamn, this reminded me of Lars Sullivan.
Yeah.
Call up the big angry dudes from NXT and have them kill the poor little Lucha team.
And yeah, Semper Fi. Thank you for your service, boys, by the way. I wanted to get that out there. So, yeah.
All right. Fair enough. Sheamus beat up Cal Bloom. Cal Bloom, by the way, that's a big boy.
He's not small.
He's not small. I was surprised, actually, they put Sheamus in here in a squash match with a guy of that size, but it was good. It makes Sheamus look like that much more of a monster that he can beat the crap out of a kid of this size. If you don't know who Cal Bloom is, he is the son of Wayne Bloom, not Matt Bloom, but Wayne Bloom, who was Bo Beverly of the Beverlys. If you don't know who the Beverlys are, go watch Royal Rumble '92. They were the guys that beat the Bushwhackers.
Right.
In that match that went way too long. But at any rate, his son's now in WWE getting beat up by Sheamus. And beat up, by the way. They did the 10 beats of the Bowery, and without a crowd, you could hear that meat just getting whacked.
You could see him pulling away from Sheamus, too. Like, ow, dude, that actually hurts. Stop it. Ow.
Just reflexively, like his body was like, help me, no.
It's like this involuntary like pull away, like stop beating me, Dad. I didn't do anything wrong.
I'm so sorry. Sheamus still squashing people, which, so glad he had that feud with Gable that made Gable look so good. So no idea where Sheamus is going now, but maybe an idea. We got someone coming back soon. We have Elias, who's still around. He declared for Money in the Bank,
Good,
which is going to be on May 10th.
I'm glad Elias is getting work. That's what I want to say. I'm glad to see him being able to participate. We're getting to hear his entrance music. He's winning a match every couple of months, Yeah, good for Elias. Whoa, sorry, shook my camera there. Jesus, that was.
You'd think he'd know not to go up to the crow's nest anymore.
Yeah.
Bad things happen up there.
Don't do that anymore.
Speaking of people in high spots, Jeff Hardy, guy I think might be seeing a little bit more of Sheamus. Jeff Hardy's getting lots of love. He's got a video package about his career. They called it Part 1, which means we're probably going to see some more of that. More stuff about Jeff Hardy's history as they try to reintroduce him, make him a big deal again. Next week, we're getting more Money in the Bank stuff. We're going to get Daniel Bryan versus Cesaro in an opening match. Hopefully, it'll be better than Daniel Bryan versus Nakamura, which is just kind of a wet fart. And Naomi versus Dana Brooke for the women's Money in the Bank qualifier. Thanks for coming, Dana.
Yep.
Also, in 2 weeks, we're going to start getting the Triple H 25th anniversary special because we need to celebrate that guy more.
Yeah.
You know who also had their 25th anniversary yesterday?
Who?
Michael P.S. Hayes. Are we getting a Michael P.S. Hayes special?
Where's his special?
Freebird special? No? Why not? Oh, right, because he's not running NXT and banging the boss's daughter. But anyway, that's how it works over in WWE. Never miss an opportunity to put over Mr. Triple H. But, Nick, that's it for SmackDown. That's it for all the wrestling this week. Oh, my goodness. A lot of wrestling. Even, I'll say this, Nick. I don't think it's the wisest thing. They should not be doing the live shows. That's dumb.
Nope.
They shouldn't go do Greatest Royal Rumble. That's dumb.
Nope.
But I'm glad they're still doing shows at all. It gives us something to talk about. It gives us something to watch. It gives people out there some sort of entertainment.
Yep.
So, yeah, I admit to being conflicted about that.
Yeah, I'm starting to go a little down on, like, after what you just showed me at WrestleMania, you spent a weekend taping all kinds of content and came out on the back end of it saying that you were good to go for a couple of months. And then you just were like, in typical Vince fashion, 30 minutes before the show, we're like, nah, we're doing it live, damn it. I wonder how good some of that, I'm assuming we're going to see a lot of that taped stuff over the next few weeks. But,
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. We got to move on, though, Nick. I got a big thing to talk about in a second here. So let's rock and roll.
Yeah, let's head over and do our moment of positivity. Mop.
Moment of positivity. That's right, Nick. We got to talk about the thing this week that made us the happiest. That really just that shook our whiskers. That tickled our taints. What did you like the most? What made you happy this week, Nick? What was your moment of positivity?
We've yet to discuss it on this show, I believe.
Oh.
I watched The Edge 24 last night on his return to Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And I was fine. It's no secret Edge is one of my favorites. I was fine all the way through it until they finally got to the very end. And spoiler alert, I'm sorry if you haven't watched it yet. I'm not going to say much else. But they showed the behind-the-curtain moment of Edge at Royal Rumble with You Think You Know Me. The crowd erupted. I was still fine. He comes out. I was still fine. And then those cut the camera to Beth Phoenix choking up and breaking down, watching it from the control room, and I was just, I love you, Edge. Oh, my God. I just couldn't. Jesus Christ, that made me. I couldn't take it anymore.
I got you going. Yeah,
like they had spent the last hour building you up to this emotional peak and high, and then they had to like drop that bomb on you of Beth. Oh, and then just like her continuing to just do that stuff. They just kept cutting back to her. Just no, God, I can't handle it. That was my moment of positivity. Edge 24. If you haven't watched it, it's absolutely amazing. I'm not going to say anything else about it for the sake of spoilers, but it's one of the best ones yet. Go watch it.
Oh, man. Damn.
Yeah.
I have not had a chance to watch it yet. I'm looking forward to it. I was busy watching the Brawl for All.
Prepare yourself.
The Vice TV Brawl for All, which just, oh my God. I thought I didn't like Vince Russo before that.
Oh, God.
Good God, that guy is oblivious. What was mine? Nick, I was tempted to say it was actually the Miz and Morrison segment because I have to admit, I laughed harder at that than anything except for a couple of Jericho's lines. Jericho had a couple of lines on commentary that cracked me up. And Jericho on commentary in general could have easily been my moment of positivity.
Yeah.
Miz and Morrison, their bit could have easily been my moment of positivity.
Yeah.
Because it was a lot of good news. But I think it's going to have to be just the rewarding feeling I got from doing our bonus episode this last week. Like I felt like I kind of put my neck out there on that one. Like I spent a lot of time working that up. And I felt like my obsessive nature kind of got the better of me. And I just had this insane like theory thing that I put out there. If you guys haven't listened to it, I do apologize. It is at our $10 tier on Patreon. So you have to do that to get it. But for those of you who listened to it and gave me some great feedback, thank you guys. It did mean a lot. And that's why it's my moment of positivity. I felt like it was well received and it was kind of a whew, because I did feel like I might have gotten off the deep end on it.
No, it was perfect.
So feeling like, no, okay, it was good. Was definitely a very positive moment for me. So thank you all very much for that. I appreciate
all the feedback was absolutely amazing. Love you guys for it.
So it was madness. If you do want to hear it, head over to Patreon, sign up for our $10 tier.
Excuse me while I wipe the edge tears from my eyes. Good Lord. I didn't realize screaming that hard would make me get all misty again. Jesus. Go watch Edge 24. It's really good. But we're not done just yet.
Oh, God.
We've got just enough time for our other news lightning round. Beep, 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 beep.
Room is shaking over there. You having an earthquake in South Carolina?
No, that's just me hulking up going, oh, God. It's a new effect I'm trying out. Did you guys like it?
It's a nice effect. Yeah. Thanks to Ciampa Gargano, the final beat. Sure it is. NXT beat AEW for the first time in weeks and weeks and weeks by 400 people. It was neck and neck this week. It was 692,900 people watched NXT versus 692,500 watching AEW. That being said, AEW absolutely murdered NXT in the 18 to 49 demo. NXT was 51st. That means only people watching that stuff were people people in their 50s or people in their teens were watching NXT. That's it. They weren't even on the top 50. They weren't even on the listing. AEW did a 0.26. It was in 32nd, which considering that most of everything else was news, like usually they're a lot higher.
You know what's back on now that they're both competing with and why these numbers are back down from like the 800,000-900,000s to the 600s? Shark Tank. Same time on ABC. 8 p.m.
I'm actually
Wednesdays.
looking at the numbers, Nick, and it's actually a lot of news beating them.
Everyone's watching fair. Everybody's watching all the White House briefings and everything. Yeah.
So that's actually what's killing them right now. So, but the fact they're still doing 700 is actually it's pretty damn good.
Not bad.
Only down 200,000 from their peaks. From they peaked around 1 million. Yeah. The Raw after WrestleMania did only 2 million people, which for a Raw is real low. It's about down almost 1 million. So that's no bueno. But it is what it is. You can't really look at the ratings too much. Just interesting to note.
Yeah.
Dave Meltzer over at Wrestling Observer will not be giving WrestleMania matches this year star ratings. He's not rating them because they weren't traditional matches. They didn't have an audience. They were pre-taped. And he says that's not what true professional wrestling is. It would be unfair to take decades and decades of matches that were one style and rate them against matches that were pre-taped, which is funny because I recall him rating Lucha Underground matches.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this, I will lose exactly 0 hours of sleep knowing that Meltzer did not rate any of those matches.
Yep. Same here. Just an interesting note.
Yep.
Jack Gallagher, when asked why Drew McIntyre was the first British champion, he said, I've had a few people ask, so allow me to clarify. Drew McIntyre is the first British WWE champion, but will only be considered British whilst champion. If he loses the title, he returns to being Scottish. We did it to Andy Murray, and we'll do it to Drew.
Nice.
Brilliant. Edge. You talked about Edge. Let's talk some more about Edge. He was on Corey Graves' show after the bell this week, and he gave a short list of guys he wants to work with. It seemed like it was kind of off the top of his head, but still, every one of them pretty exciting. Roman Reigns, obviously, Seth Rollins, but he also said, and AJ Styles, all ones you'd expect. He also said Aleister Black, Velveteen Dream, Keith Lee, Tyler Bate, Walter, Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, and Adam Cole. I would be down to see Edge work with any of those guys. Mm-hmm. Give me any of those feuds, Nick, and put it in my eye holes. XFL is apparently totally done.
Yep.
They've suspended day-to-day activities, and they've terminated all their team and league employees. According to Connor Falk, who is the official reporter for XFL, the statement about their closing down was read to their employees through a conference call by league president Jeffrey Pollock. No questions were taken, and the call lasted all of 10 minutes. XFL is also refunding all of its 2021 season ticket pre-purchases. So that is a cursed league, Nick. They're good. What better way to spend $1 billion than on another failed attempt at an ego project? Speaking of egos, Ronda Rousey. Oh, Ronda. Oh, Ronda. She was interviewed on Steve-O's podcast, which probably should set up that just sets it up nicely. It was on Steve-O's podcast. She said she will not be coming back to WWE on a full-time schedule. It was just too much for her. I'm actually going to read her comments in their entirety because a lot of people are focusing on the fact that she said F the fans. They're focusing on the fact that said that they were ungrateful. So I'm going to give her the full context here because this was actually almost in the big news this week because this was kind of a big deal. A lot of people are flaming her for this. She said, I love the WWE. I had such a great time. I love all the girls in the locker room. Running out there and having fake fights for fun is just the best thing. I love choreography. I love acting. I love theater, live theater, and some of the last forms of live theater. But I was doing basically part-time, and I was away from home 200 days out of the year. And when I did get home, I was so sleep-deprived because you just don't have time to lay down. If I did all of the live shows, I was only home a day and a half a week. It was just not worth it for my family because we were eliminating all of our expenses and living this lifestyle. We didn't need it. We didn't need the money. So it's just like, what am I doing it for if I'm not being able to spend my time and energy on my family, but instead spending my time and my energy on a bunch of fucking ungrateful fans that don't even appreciate me? I love performing. I love the girls. I love my being out there. But at the end of the day, I was just like, fuck these fans, dude. My family loves me and they appreciate me, and I want all my energy to go into them. So that was my decision at the end of the day. It's like, hey, girls, love what you're doing. I'm going to try and take all my momentum and push you guys as far as I can. Fly, little birds, fly. I'm going fucking home. And that was basically it. So that's the full quote of what Ronda Rousey said about her time in WWE. So, Nick, I'm going to give you the floor on this in just 1 second. I want to set this up by saying this. I hear her. This is about her spending more time with her family. She's entitled to that. But what do you think about her perception of the road schedule and of the fan base?
That's how she felt. She never should have taken the money in the first place. You don't need it? Cool. You want to go hang out on your farm? Cool. Go make some babies. Cool. But don't come on my show that I've loved for 40 years and for a year. Take the titles, take all the spotlight away from all the women you pretend to be supporting and pushing. And oh, how good of you. And then point at the fans as if it's like we've never critiqued anybody in wrestling before. Seriously? Get over yourself. Go back to your farm. You know, we didn't want you here in the first place, frankly. You did okay. You ended up pulling it off. But at the end of it, I was happy to see you go. And I don't want you back. And fuck
I'll
you
actually jump on that.
Bye.
I'll actually jump on this and say that not only did she do great, she did superlatively well. I can't think of anybody else except for maybe Kurt Angle who picked it up as quickly as she did. I thought that she was legitimately a superstar. That being said, and I defended her a lot of times on this show as well. That being said, you nailed it on the head with the entitlement. The feeling that you can walk in the door and just because you won a few quote unquote real matches, congratulations, you're a real fighter. This is a whole other world. This is a whole other business with years and years of legacy. And you're standing on the shoulders of giants here. And if you're going to take their lifestyle and denigrate it because it's not your lifestyle, but you're still going to take the money from it, and then you wonder why the fans of that lifestyle, of that business, are questioning you. And by the way, fans in this business, like one of the things about this fan base, and yes, I'll be the first to admit this fan base can be toxic, just like any fan base. Because we can make a whole long list of fan bases that are toxic, all the way down to Pokemon. But here's the thing. If you can't take the fans, quote unquote, turning on you and saying that they're ungrateful for, I'm sorry, you sound ungrateful for all the opportunities that you were given here. So I feel like fans being critical, if they have a good foundation for it, is legitimate. What's not legitimate is Ronda coming back to this and saying that she's above criticism or she's above scrutiny.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry, you're not. You're out there performing, and thank you for your performance, and thank you for your effort, and thank you for your hard work. But at the same time, understand you're going to get critiqued. And it just came across once again, her sounding like she's thin-skinned. Her sounding like she can't take criticism or critique. It sounds like the way that she acted like a goddamn baby after losing her MMA matches. You know what I mean? Like when she lost to Nunez, and oh my God, she hated people coming after her for that. But I'm with you, Nick.
So JB in the chat says she did post something on Instagram about it in the last hour. But you know what? I'm not going to read anything else from Ronda Rousey on this show. We don't have time for her anymore because
we don't. We are out of time.
We're out of time.
I wish we'd have more time
Sorry,
to spend on
Ronda.
this.
We don't have time to spend critiquing you anymore. Carry on, Sir Ian Dangerous, as you were, sir.
Oh, it doesn't sound like it's good from what I'm reading on the chat.
It's not anywhere near as vitriolic as the original post. I read it.
Okay.
Come on. Let's go. We got a lot to do.
All right. You're right. You're right. Anyway, leave it at that. Even if this is a work on some level, she's trying to come back as a heel. This is the wrong kind of heat.
She ain't coming back.
I'll leave it at that. Wrong kind of heat. No. Honestly, yeah, I'm definitely in the, hey, get out of here. Get out of my wrestling. Don't need you, you ungrateful twit.
Yep.
Goldberg, speaking of ungrateful, Goldberg's contract is up with the WWE. Apparently, he's not welcome back because he did pull some politicking to get the title off of Bray. Apparently, originally, he was going to get beaten by Bray, but he politicked in the back to get the title put on himself because he felt it would make a good example to children and show that he was still a superhero. And then he was going to work the program with Roman Reigns and get Roman Reigns over him so that way they could both look heroic. The problem was he didn't want to extend his contract beyond WrestleMania, which is why they took the title off of him and put it on Braun, because he didn't want to wait around until SummerSlam to do the Reigns program. So apparently because of all of this, he now has heat with WWE. I want to clarify, this is all a rumor, speculation, but it's been sourced by a couple of different places, so I had to bring it up just so that you know that's out there in the world.
That's juicy.
Yeah. But that does explain why he dropped it to Braun in such a fashion. But it also, I think, just undercuts him taking that title off of Bray even more. Bray apparently got some major points by being willing to put over Goldberg in this situation. And to be fair, he was able to pivot pretty successfully.
Yeah, we'll see.
Couple more quick things. Going to the other side of the pond real quick. Yuka Sakazaki is home with a mild fever. It's not serious, thank goodness, but she is sick. That's why you probably won't see her on AEW TV anytime soon. New Japan has canceled all of its shows through May 4th, including Wrestling Dontaku. They continue to be being responsible in that company. Wrestle Talk. On Wrestle Talk, Will Ospreay. This is one, it's kind of clickbaity, but I had to bring it up. He mentioned a match between him and CM Punk, and he said it could happen in Japan. He also said it probably won't happen, but he wanted to throw it out there because he's going fishing. He's just kind of trying to see Ospreay versus CM Punk. That'd be a very interesting match. There's a lot to say about that, but unfortunately we don't have time to really get into it right now. I'll put it out there. I'll throw some chum in the water on that one and let the Sharks get it. Kevin Sullivan was on the Jim Cornette show this last week. He denied ever giving Nancy, a.k.a. Woman, a.k.a. Mrs. Benoit, a black eye, as was alleged in the Vice show. He says they were living apart at the time, so if she got a black eye, it must have been somebody else. He also points out that it wasn't like he was only being abusive to her, which he denied, by the way. He also said she was being abusive to him. At one point, she went to jail for 3 days for pulling a knife on him. So basically, it was a very healthy relationship. Long story short is what it sounds like to me. And finally, Nick, this Sunday is Ric Flair on the Broken Skull Sessions. So if you want to check out what Rick's got to say with Stone Cold, go check that out. And that is the news.
Oh, I can't wait for that one. We've seen the Andre the Giant memorial, or the documentary where he had quite a healthy interview on there. I can't wait to see what he talks about with Stone Cold, if those are any indication that we've seen from Goldberg, from Undertaker, etc. so far. The Big Show one, but yeah, I can't wait for the Ric Flair one. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We ran a little bit long today. We will be doing the patron mailbag here immediately after this one. We just got to fire up a new stream, so keep your alerts on. Make sure you get notified. We'll post links up in social medias, all kinds of good stuff, so you guys can get right back in for the patron mailbag. To get your questions in, you have to head over to patreon.com/BWO. Sign up for just that $5 tier. And for just $5 a month, you get access to the show notes for every single episode. Plus, every week, you can send in a question for us to ask on Saturday's Patron Mailbag Show. For $10, you can get bonus episodes like the Firefly Funhouse, Deeper Meanings Breakdown that's put together by Surrey and Dangerous. You can also get all kinds of good stuff like swag, Skype calls, all kinds of stuff at the higher levels. One more hat tip and shout out to Trey for breaking into the $100 per month barrier.
Yes, thank you.
I can't wait
much
to co-produce a segment with you for the show here. We're looking forward to that.
Definitely.
What else? Facebook. Come over and join us on Facebook. Busted Wide Open. Send us a join request. Get into the discussion group. Like our page. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BWO Podcast, and subscribe right here at youtube.com/bustedwideopen. Make sure you jingle that bell to get those notifications on as well. Like this video if you thought it was good, and any other ones you do. So make sure you're subscribed to our channel. We're anxiously awaiting our partner application status, so any other bumps you can give us in the meantime, we would greatly appreciate it. But my name is Nick Howell. You can find me over on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
But my God!
Would somebody stop the damn match?
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.